106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Wednesday, I was going to say July, March 20th. It's Double Impact with your host, Gabe Eltave and Jericho Green. Guys, we're going back to the future tonight. I'm very excited. How you doing, Jericho Green? Great to see you, friend.
Doing great, man, but glad it's not July. Slow down, man.
No, it is warm today, though. It's the second day of spring. It's the 20th of March, second day of spring. It is warm. It's a warm one down here in San Diego. It's about 75, which is hot for us. So
yeah, it was 80 up here. Probably 10, 11 hours north of you. So yeah, it's getting warm. It's going to rain this weekend, and then it'll get start getting warm here in May. Forget it. From May to October, it's smoking. Somebody left the fireplace door open. It is blazing. So I'm enjoying this kind of mild weather.
I don't know how you deal with it. We have two seasons here in San Diego. We have eternal spring, where it doesn't get hotter than 74, 75, and then it's cold in the winter down into the high 50s, low 60s. That's it. There is a week at the end of August and the beginning of September, like 2-3 weeks right there. It will get into the 80s, and everyone here complains that it's 85 or 87.
Yeah, same when I lived down in Monterey. Same thing. Anything over like 80 and up, that's all people are talking about. A few years ago, it was 105 plus. Like between 105 and 110 for a week, and people were just dying. Some people probably actually died from that heat. But up here in Sacramento, it's 105 for months. So yeah, it gets cooking.
What is the hottest weather you've ever been in?
It's probably going to be between San Juan, Puerto Rico. It had to be like 115 or something like that, but it was a humidity. I mean, you talk about swamp ass and swamp nuts. The humidity was off the charts. And then being in the Persian Gulf during summertime, their summer, it was Christmas Day. I remember calling home and it was like 100 and something, like over 115. It was smoking.
The hottest place on earth. I used to work at the Greeley Daily Tribune. That is a newspaper in my hometown where I went to college back in Colorado. And I would do the graphics for the weather. I do all kinds of graphics for the paper because I was an art major in college. I was working at the paper. And one of the things I did was put together the weather report every day. And I noticed the hottest city every day was Death Valley in California. It's the hottest place on earth.
And
I would drive from Colorado to San Diego to visit family and also to go to the San Diego Comic-Con when I was still trying to become a comic book artist before I finally got hired by DC in 2009 or 2007. I was driving out in the summer of 2007 to go to Comic-Con with my buddy Nick, who's also an illustrator and a painter, and we stopped in Baker. I'm sure, have you been to Baker? It has the world's biggest thermometer. It's got like one stoplight. And it really does have the world's biggest thermometer and the alien beef jerky place. That's what Baker's famous.
Oh yeah, I've been there, and it's they have alien everything, all kinds of memorabilia and souvenirs. It's a really cool place. It's different.
Right.
I went through there when I was going to Pahrump, Nevada for the
sure
course. Yeah.
Sure. When you're going to Pahrump for the shooting school and not the Bunny Ranch.
No, I did not have any parts of the Bunny Ranch. I was going there for the shooting school. But if they have the world's largest thermometer, then what size is the ass they stick that thing in to get the temperature?
Right. Well, there it is, the world's largest thermometer. Here's a view of the alien jerky place with that little green thing in the red circle.
Yeah, it's a trip.
And this is middle of nowhere, Baker, California. There it is. I stopped in Baker to go to this Greek place that has these great shawarma sandwiches. It's July. Nick and I are driving through and get out of the car. And on the world's biggest thermometer, it says it is 122 degrees.
Yeah.
That is the hottest weather I've ever been in. I got out of my air-conditioned Toyota Camry. I looked at Nick and he looked at me and we both just started laughing. Like this heat, it didn't feel real. It felt like, really? It can get this hot? It was insane. So
and there's nothing driving to there.
At least it's a dry heat.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing like to look at. It's flat desert for hours going through there. Probably the most boring drive you'll ever have. It gets hot, but that gives you an idea. When I mentioned that I'm like 10 or 11 hours north of Gabe, San Diego's right, they say at the bottom of California. And I'm up in Northern California, and where I am, 10, 11 hours from Gabe, it's still like 6 hours to Oregon.
Right.
From here. Like California is gigantic.
It is weird that people say Northern California, Bay Area, San Francisco. And if you look at a map, that's Central California, actually. It's not actually Northern California. So, it's weird. The San Francisco is actually about halfway through the state.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's northern compared to Southern California, but it's actually central, like the Central Valley, Turlock, Merced, Madera, Fresno, all that stuff. That's like Central California.
Just drove through there 3 weeks ago. Beautiful, man. Beautiful country. Just
it is
endless. And it's the biggest farmland in the world. It's just endless fields and farms and apricots and almonds and oranges and just you name it. That's where all the
olives,
from.
avocados, nuts.
And you can smell Gilroy before you see it. The city of Gilroy.
Oh,
it
garlic.
Is the garlic capital of the world, Gilroy, California. It smells delicious when you drive through there.
Gilas. And then there are a lot of capitals of the world as far as produce in California. You got Castroville's artichoke capital. You got Watsonville. And these are all pretty close to each other.
Right.
Watsonville is the strawberry capital. Castroville is the did I say that? Artichoke capital, garlic capital, strawberry. I think it's Morgan Hill. Pretty much the next town if you drive through Gilroy. That's the mushroom capital of the world. There's a lot of produce, but driving to California,
raisin capital of the world. But I didn't catch which city it was, but I was driving. It said raisin capital of the world.
Yeah, and you not being from California, so you probably know the Bay, San Francisco, Los Angeles, stuff like that. A lot of beach and the coast, but you get inland and start driving through farmland. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, California. Beautiful. For those of you not from here, it's its own planet. There's no other place like it in America because if you can think of a climate, we have it. We have beach, we have desert, we have mountains where you can go skiing. If you can think of it, it's here. There's canyons and deserts, and it's its own completely enclosed environment. It really does have everything. So I'm staying, damn it. They're not kicking me out of here. I'm staying and fighting the good fight.
Yeah, if we could get our shit together like we once had it. I wouldn't be mad if California broke off from the rest of the damn country. We have everything you can need, minus humidity.
It is it's Castro, like Fidel. It is Castroville.
Castroville. Castro, puro Castro, fool. Yeah. That's where I went to school. I went to junior high and high school in Castroville, California. And all the towns around that area have nicknames like Castro, Salinas, Salas, Green Fash, Chole, Jolice, all these, Hollister and all these weird little nicknames and shit. But yeah, if it grows and it's in your crisper It probably comes from here, and
Right.
we have a third of the nation's homeless, so not just 25%.
Right.
Give
Get it
give
right.
us our
dude.
respect. Give us our damn respect. Think about what you think about.
Get it right or
Yeah.
pay the price. Yeah.
1/3 in one state.
Right.
But yeah, once you get away from the cities, you don't see no damn homeless people because unless they want to go to work, there ain't shit for them to do out there.
Yeah. Well, they're all out here, what? Because the weather's nice. Even San Diego, which was like a conservative military Republican town, even our downtown the last few years, what an effect Biden has had on this country, man.
Yeah.
Even our downtown. I told you, I went to go get a pizza at Prince Street Pizza with my wife. It's delicious pizza from New York City. They opened one out here. I think there's one in LA. And we parked the truck. We were walking like a block to Prince Street. And let me put on my top hat for this. There was a gentleman smoking cracked cocaine on aluminum foil. Just right there as I walk by, he has his little foil and his lighter, and he's burning it, and the white steam's coming off, and he's vaping it up or whatever.
Yeah.
And we went and got our pizza. You know, it was a date night, you know.
You have to compartmentalize if you're going to live in California.
Well, you know, my wife had been working hard, and she said, honey, will you take me to see the crackheads and get some pizza?
You got it, Thuds. Get a nice slice. For you, babe. Get a nice slice and watch The Vagrants.
Hey, get a slice, watch him freebase his life away.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
If you wait long enough, he'll be shitting right there too. So, yeah, you get a lot of entertainment.
Did you tell people you could eat crack too?
I don't know. I've never seen it consumed that way, but
I will not confirm or deny.
Why not? Shoot it, smoke it, eat it. Fuck, I don't know what it's going to do to your stomach, but you guys try it and let me know.
I knew a guy who was a wild man in high school. He will remain nameless, and no, it isn't me, and I'm not going to say the name. I know I always say the name because I'm jokingly that way. He bought something off the street in Tijuana. This is 30 years ago from a person. Threw it in his mouth.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what it was.
Don't buy anything off the streets.
Right.
Of Tijuana.
And it wasn't food. It wasn't food.
I've seen somebody that I know eat 7 ecstasy pills at once. He had them in a little.
Did he die 7 times right after?
He came close. You know those little tiny. I don't know what small Ziploc bags are for, other than holding drugs. I've never seen them hold anything. What would you put in there?
Like one Cheez-It for your kid? For your kid?
They're for holding drugs. So he had this little plastic bag, and it had 7 ecstasy pills in it, and he had it in his pocket. So he took one before, stuck in his pocket. So it's called rolling when you're on ecstasy. You know, you start grinding your teeth and shit. And I don't know what he was doing, bumping up against something, but he smashed all the pills. So it was just a bag of blue powder. So he was like, fuck it. And he just took it and dumped all 7 pills into his mouth at one time. And he was, we thought he was going to die, but he didn't.
You have to call the ambulance?
No, and a few months later, I ended up kicking his ass. But
there you go.
That night, yeah, man, he was on one.
Think about what you think about says JG. You talked about it on the Blade episode. It was when Gabe told the story of his coworker that pulled out a crack cocaine substance. Oh yeah, I have had crack or cocaine. I don't know which it was. I'm not a drug guy. Offered to me at work when I was 17 years old. I was a janitor for about 2 weeks. It's the only job I've ever been fired from. And the janitor who worked there, I was replacing him, so he was taking me for training for 1 day of learning how to pick up cigarette butts and stuff. And he had keys to all the businesses in this little strip mall. And 1 or 2 of them, was unoccupied. It was out of business. It was a vacant business. So that's where we had our lunch. We went to the deli at the grocery store, got some sandwiches, got a soda. I remember getting like a electronic gaming monthly magazine. I was 17. I wanted to read about the Nintendo 64 or something like that. And he was a Mexican guy, like in his 30s, didn't speak English. So we sit down in this vacant business. I get out my sandwich and chips, start reading about Mario Brothers or whatever. He starts drinking the beer that he bought while we're working.
Yeah.
Then he pulls out a piece of tinned foil, unfurls it, and within it was a white, crumbly substance. And he said to me, "¿Quieres?" And I said, "No, thank you, sir."
You want some, fool?
Right.
You
want some white substance?
You want it? No, I've seen somebody smoke crack out of their hand, but I don't remember ever seeing anybody eat crack. Seen them eat a lot of shit, but never saw anybody eat crack.
I have seen him ass crack once, but not ass.
I've seen that. But no, this dude put the crack rocks in his hand, and he was like waving the lighter over it till he started smoking, and he was like sucking. I'm like, damn, you can't find a car antenna or something. However you guys do that, but yeah, man, people, they get desperate out there.
Didn't you get fired from Pasta Minute First of all, how dare you?
First
We agreed to go our separate ways. It was an amicable. That's not a word, Gabe.
of all, it's like that's amicable and comical together.
Right.
It
You
was
can tell him.
amicable.
You can tell I'm lying because now I'm making up words. I'm so. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I think we have to bring in. We got to bring in an expert here to set the record straight. Okay, Hulkster. Is Hulkster there?
That's right, brother. I'm here, brother. And I like
Okay.
the truth. I don't like people to lie, brother. I like to get the truth out there,
All right.
brother.
Well, back in the spring of 1995, you took a young Gabe in under your wing, under your 22-inch python wings, and you taught me to make the rigatone just like you. How did it go? Was I fired, or did we just agree to go our separate ways? And am I still welcome at Pastamania?
You are, brother. You get all the specials, brother. I'll still give you your employee discount, brother. But it was a mutual separation, brother. I saw the talent in you, brother. I knew you were going to be something big, brother. I didn't want you to stay here rolling out that sweet semolina, brother. I figured I'd do it for you, brother.
That's right. Now, see, now they're flinging accusations at me. Please defend my. He's saying that I harassed the Hulkster at Pastamania. We were wrestling. Please set the record straight. I know there's that grainy video footage. It was not S harassment. It was a wrestling move I wanted to run by you for WrestleMania, right?
That's right, brother. In order for it to be harassment, brother, it has to be unwanted.
Yeah, it was my modified version of the camel clutch. You never did tell me if you liked it or not.
I think you called it the camel toe clutch, brother. You tried it on one of the waitresses one time, brother. I remember seeing you grab that moose knuckle, brother, before I put on my helmet, got on that red and yellow Harley, rode it down the PCH, brother.
Oh, yeah, I remember. We had to have a little meeting in your office about that. But, I'm just a wrestling and pasta enthusiast. And when I found out you were combining the martial art, the discipline of pro wrestling with the art of making fine pasta dishes for families everywhere, I just couldn't resist being there. I had to be part of it. So thank you.
That's right, brother. Remember, I tried to put a ring in the middle of the restaurant, brother, but it didn't work out. I kept getting distracted, brother. I'm back there making that sweet gravy, brother. I hear that bell go off, brother, and I just go crazy, brother.
Right. You'd run. He would run out still in his apron, and he'd drop a leg drop on whoever was in that ring. It didn't matter. Man, woman, child, elderly, he would leg drop the shit out of those people.
Yeah, one time I hear the bell, brother. I run out there, some lady, she got lost, brother. Little tiny old lady. She looked like she was lost from the set of Golden Girls, brother, and she cut through that ring. And I saw her, brother. I remember lifting that giant and the Pontiac Silverdome for WrestleMania, brother. They call it a flashback, brother. I grabbed that sweet old lady. I leg dropped the hard candy out of that bitch, brother.
Yeah, I did think it was a mistake, and you ended up agreeing with me that putting a special dining table in the middle of the ring, a reserved table there for families, that wasn't good because you just couldn't stop the leg drops. And you leg dropped a couple kids, those twins. They both got hurt, which was weird. They both hurt the same arm, which is weird because they were twins. But we took the table out of the ring, after some disagreement. Did that break your heart to have to take the reserve table out of the middle of that wrestling ring?
Anytime I got to mess with the ring, brother, I got to tear down a ring. It tears my heart apart, brother. But I must say, those two twins are fine, brother. The youth was on their side. Those bones healed quick, brother. I gave them free pasta mania for 365 days, brother, and they forgave me.
Oh, that's just wonderful. What can't pasta heal? What can't it heal?
It couldn't heal that broken leg I had, brother. I was shoving rigatoni and fusilli in my cast, brother. It did nothing, brother.
Well, we'll let you go on this question. Think about what you think about ass. What kind of specials do you have for Women's History Month at Pasta Mania?
Rule number one at Pasta Mania, brother. I got it posted out front. It says rule number one, no bullshit, brother. And that's what Women's Heritage Month is, brother. A big 30-day pile of bullshit, brother. I leg drop males. I leg drop females, brother. We're all about that sweet equality here, brother.
Right. So the one special you did have going during Women's History Month to honor women everywhere, you said they were welcome to come into the kitchen and make a damn pasta sandwich. How did that program go? Did you have a lot of response to that, or I
You
think
know,
you
in the
called it Get in
beginning,
the
brother,
Kitchen?
it was kind of slow to get off the ground, brother. The ladies were getting a little mouthy, brother. And all I can say is a few minutes later, they're holding one eye, sniveling, brother. But eventually they got behind it and they were making those ham sandwiches, brother. Those Italian cutlet sandwiches, brother. Those ladies fell in line real quick. Plus, I got to see a lot of tits, brother.
Wow. The life of a pro wrestling star. All right, Hulkster. Well, thank you for being our one and only sponsor for Double Impact. We'll talk to you later, man. Enjoy Florida. I should be down there sooner or later. See you again.
All right. Bye, brother.
There he goes on the red and yellow Harley.
Mm.
What a great guy. What a great guy.
You know, I respect him because he takes equality serious. And if you're going to work at Pasta Mania or dine at Pasta Mania and you get mouthy, you're going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, when I worked there, dude, it was intense. When he hurt those twins, it was bad. It was bad news, dude. It was on the news and everything.
And their dad came, oh, my kids. And he got leg dropped too. It was crazy.
A knuckle sandwich equals one pasta sandwich.
That's right, man. I remember reading that story. The ladies, no, I don't want to. And then you hear a bunch of psh, 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 and then they wanted to. That's all I have to say.
Motivated. Motivation.
Comes in different forms, you know.
Well, guys, I'm going to take you behind the scenes on Double Impact. I'm going to take you somewhere you've never been before to know the inner workings of this show.
Ooh.
Back to the Future, 1985 masterpiece of a movie that I had never seen. I put it on this afternoon while I was packing and shipping and packing Dean Cain All-American Lawman t-shirts. I'm getting those out. I'm not done. I've still got a lot of comics to get out. You go to bigmancomics.com. Oh, there. Look who has it. Well, looky here. Hold on a second.
Look at that.
Look at that. That's the benefit of being a friend of the show.
2 cover. 3 cover. 4 cover.
Guys,
I do have a 5th cover, but my son has it in his room. So I do have 5 covers, people. This is not a game. You must support. Support with your clicks, your subscriptions, your shares, and your monies.
That's right. So Dean Cain All-American Lawman. I ordered cajillion thousand of these books. They're all at my house behind this green screen here in my garage. I've been packing and shipping like a madman. I love it. The response is insane. 100% of people who have tweeted a picture of themselves opening it, hold it, they love it. The writing, the art, everything, we hit it out of the park. I thank God. I'm humbled. I'm so happy that people love this thing. We poured our hearts and souls into it. Jericho knew about this thing like a year ago when I came up with the idea. And it's just awesome to see it come to fruition. And I'm just about 2-3 weeks away from being done shipping it all out. We'll keep selling it. First printings are limited. When those are gone, they're gone forever. The next time I print it, I might change the cover. I'm definitely going to write second printing on the inside indicia page, all that credit and, you know, the legal stuff, mumbo jumbo on the inside cover. But yes, if you want it, run and get it because you'll get it quickly now. No more waiting for months. I know some people don't like the crowdfunding waiting for months on the customer end, but those of you that did support us and patiently wait for months, you are angels. Thank you so much. And Dean and Akion and I, we've already discussed volume 2. I'm going to be writing that in April. I'm writing a sci-fi right now that Akion is also illustrating. So we're going to do that book. I'm not saying the name or anything. Maybe I'll show a little bit of art if you guys are nice. I'll show a little bit of Jericho saw the concept art for that. But yes, guys, run out and get it. The t-shirts are amazing. We have this one with the lawman on it pointing his gun. We got this one that's got the A cover in front of the flaming building. And then if you want to dress like Dean Cain in the book, we got the great idea to literally make the shirt that he gets in a pivotal scene. He wears this shirt throughout the story, right, Jericho? I mean, he does wear it like at least half the story. So you could cosplay as the great Dean Cain. You will not have his amazing hair and smile, but the shirt will get you somewhere. You know, it's better.
Get close. We'll get you a third of the way there. Right. And on my channel, I did an unboxing video of all the covers and the merch that Gabe was kind enough to send me. So you guys can also check that shit out. And I'm going to have Gabe and Dean on my channel do a live stream, talk about it, shit like that. So very, very excited.
Yes, very exciting. It's such a great time. We're so humbled and grateful. And if I could give any advice to anyone out there that's doing a crowdfund, have a wife that's an accountant because she can parse and organize all the data for you. Because here's a little boring, but behind the scenes, when you're going to ship books, you don't want to say, okay, Joe Smith lives in Montana. He ordered cover A and a blue shirt. Pack it, ship it. No. What you want to do is go, These 700 people ordered the orange cover. These, 1,100 people ordered this cover and a shirt, and you group it all together. Then you print 1 million tickets off your printer from stamps.com, you know what I mean? And you batch it. And having my wife she's a controller. I don't even know what that is. She's getting a promotion to become a controller accountant. That's a high level thing. She's just on Excel and making me all these reports to make this like smooth. It's still going to take me a few more weeks, but I'm happy to do it. I'm thrilled at the support. So love all you guys. Bigmancomics.com. Please go get it. But as I was saying about Back to the Future, which I have not seen, and I picked it for tonight because I know it's a great movie. Everybody loves it. I put it on while I was packing, ran into a problem with some of those Excel spreadsheets I was talking about. Me and my wife figured out the problem, and then it was time for this show. So I still haven't seen Back to the Future. I watched half of it this afternoon. Loved everything I saw. So I'm going into this, going in halfway, Jericho, as they say, going in halfway,
Well, I'll get us through the second half because not only did I watch that movie today, I've seen it I don't know how many times growing up. It's a great movie. If you're a child of the 80s, it's a nice stroll down memory lane. The clothes, the products, the food. There's some fast food in there. There's some like Pepsi and stuff like that, man. It's really cool. Right. And Michael J. Fox, if there's a Mount Rushmore of the 80s, right, Michael J. Fox is on it. And not only, I think Back to the Future, Teen Wolf, that was another huge one for him. But man, Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, those dudes are
I am, the longer we do this show and the more movies I watch, because you guys remember, I always talk about I wasn't allowed to watch movies or listen to worldly music growing up. I saw the same 10 movies over and over: Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Blues Brothers, and like 3 other movies. So this is all new to me, Double Impact. And then I got to see Van Damme and all the stuff I love, like action, when I was in high school. I was able to watch it when I was older. And that's where my love for it came from. But like Rambo, Rocky, I saw all that stuff in like the last 5 years. That's all new to me, and I love it. But what was my point with any of this? Gosh dang it, I got on a tangent. Sorry, it'll come back to me. Sorry about that. Go ahead. I'll have to remember.
It's really cool, man, to see this movie and these actors, seeing how young they were, because now, actors get old. People from our childhood are getting old. That's right. None of the Miser DeLorean Motors, that's the vehicle used for Back to the Future. It was funded by Coke, and not Coca-Cola, Coke Ain. And I remember the story. on the news of the guy. I think it was his name too, DeLorean.
That was his last name, was DeLorean. Yeah.
Yeah, he got mixed up in some booger sugar, which was also prevalent in the 80s.
It's very 80s. Booger sugar is very prevalent in the 80s, yes.
It fueled a lot of these movies in the 80s. I'm sure all the Cannon films got cocaine residue all over them. Right. The Brat Pack, John Hughes, all those super famous people, Robert Downey Jr.'s and Emilio Estevez's and all those faces of the 80s. I'm sure, those movies were just...
I have a thing. Here's what I was going to say about all those movies. And this is expanding on your point, but I remembered what I wanted to say. The more movies I watch from the different decades and all that, what I realize is, I think this is true. I don't know it yet, but I really think this is true. The pinnacle of cinema in the world, American cinema, which is the top, is the 80s. It's not the 90s. It's the 80s. That's where we were on the axis. Those two lines crossed right there from, January 1st, 1980 to 89 with Batman and all that, of special effects, acting, movie making had been perfected at that point with music and acting and camera tricks and all this stuff. And there was not a whiff of woke. Not yet. Not that we could discern, There's a little bit of rebellion, but there's always rebellion throughout all of history, all the thousands of years of history. But there wasn't any woke shit yet. And woke didn't start during Obama, like a lot of people say. Woke started in the 90s. It was just a tiny bit. It was a tiny bit, but it started in the 90s. That's the first time you could really see woke really rearing its head, starting to sprout up. So I think the 80s, this movie, that I've only seen the first half, but it just has that Spielberg magic. That Robert Zemeckis, you can just feel it. And as a writer myself, someone who is very familiar with the Hollywood 3-act structure, this thing just has those beats. And some people who don't know a lot about writing, when they hear about that 3-act structure, they criticize it like, oh, it's just like a template. It's a template for a reason, guys, because it works.
It's a formula.
Yes, it's a brilliant formula that's been perfected over the last 100 years in Hollywood, and longer than that. If you get a hold of Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, or The Hero's Journey, this goes back to the beginning of humanity, the 3-act structure for the hero's journey. This is a classic thing that humans have always told stories this way, actually. So, I started it. I only got halfway through. I will finish it later because it seems fantastic so far what I've seen. But I love it. But it has that awesome feel of the 80s where we felt like we were going to be anything. Like it seemed limitless, the future. And I don't know if that's the optimism of childhood. Maybe adults didn't feel that way in the 80s. But as a kid, I felt so hopeful about the world in the future in the 80s that it was going to just be.
The 80s are the best, man. It's the best decade. I don't know what the future holds. I don't see how anything can be better than the 80s. But yeah, we were on top of the world as a country. Things were still relatively cheap. There's a scene where he gives this woman a quarter. He donates a quarter. And I was thinking in 1985, a quarter was something. A quarter could be, most of a purchase or a purchase. You could make a phone call. I think in 85, you could probably make 2 phone calls with a quarter. It was something. And the family structure was different. Everything was just different. The vehicles. And I think I've said this before, but if we went back to say 1988, we'd be fine. Those of us who were born back then and have one foot in the world before the internet, we would be fine because life was pretty modern. You had all the modern amenities in your home and stuff like that. And television and movies and technology was pretty good. Like you could survive in the 80s quite well. Music, just think of the great music that came from the 80s and these iconic movies. I mean, we're good.
Yeah.
The 80s was the best decade ever. And this movie, Back to the Future, is full of it, and not in a great way. It's packed full of all these great 80s movies, tropes.
Yeah, I would say that the world before the internet is actually a lot better on balance. The internet is amazing. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know you. We wouldn't have these friends who do these shows. I wouldn't be doing business the way I do it. So I do understand there's great upsides to the internet, but I think it has brought a lot of evil, frankly, and a lot of despair and a lot of division, all the identity politics and TikTok and all that crap. I think it's a net negative for society. And eventually, I think we'll figure out how to use people. But right now, it's like you go to any family function, it's like, you're there at Thanksgiving and everyone's all, and I do it too. And then I'm like, God, what am I? Put this fucking thing down. You try to go to bed. You're like, I wonder if anyone got traded in the NFL. And you're like, I'm supposed to be asleep. What am I doing?
It's crazy.
You're trying to eat your lunch. You're like, I'll watch YouTube videos while I eat. You're sitting on the toilet. You're like, I'm going to watch Instagram reels. It's like, put this fucking thing down. Yeah. So we got to figure that out as people. We have to figure that out.
And you just had magazines or, books to read while you're on the shitter or while you have nothing to do while you're waiting. And then with like a magazine, let's say you're in the doctor's office or something, or you're sitting on the toilet with that magazine, once you read it, that's it. There's no more new information inside of it. You could reread it. Maybe you get some stuff.
Forgetting to bring something to read, so you're reading the shampoo bottle, you're reading the back of it. And
you're reading everything. You're reading labels. I remember sitting at the kitchen table as a kid, reading the entire cereal box.
Right.
Ingredients, all the little stupid puzzle that was on the back of the maze or whatever. Like you're just reading everything. The expiration date that was stamped on there. But it was great.
It was better. The pre-internet world was better because we could not have what we wanted at all times. And having what you want at all times burns your pleasure center, your brain out. It's so bad to have what you want all the time. I remember something as simple as Captain Crunch. They had a commercial and he had these enemies. They were like robots called the Sog Masters or something.
Yeah.
And there was like a 3-part commercial that they played over the course of a month during Saturday cartoons where Captain Crunch gets in some trouble and the Sog Master's going to get him. Find out what happens. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to see what happens to Captain Crunch? Or as a little kid being obsessed with like finding out if the Sog Master killed Captain Crunch or not. Because that was my favorite cereal and I love the design of the Sog Master. And 3-4 weeks later, I'm watching, whatever Saturday morning cartoon and I see the resolution. I don't know. There was just something better about that because when things are rare, you can feel the value. When things are ubiquitous, they become meaningless when they're ubiquitous.
Mm-hmm. Look at like I think that's why the NFL is the most popular sport in America. Basketball, you have 82 games. Baseball, you have 162 games. But football, you have 19 weeks. That's it, including the Super Bowl. 19 weeks and it's over. So that rarity, it makes it very important. And yeah, there was a time where you just didn't know. You called somebody, and if they didn't answer, you left a message on the answer machine, and you didn't know who called until you got home and checked it. You see that number flashing on there. You just didn't know. If you didn't catch somebody before they closed the front door, you didn't catch them.
Right.
Everything was, and something else I was thinking about is we couldn't share stuff. Like you couldn't take a picture of something and share it with somebody immediately. You just took that picture and then you waited. You went to the photo place, like inside of, your CVS or Walgreens, and
Right.
you had to wait until they developed them all. And then you had to wait to use up the whole roll. You couldn't just take, 5 pictures and go develop it. It had 36 exposures or whatever. So you had to wait until you took 36 pictures. Then you go down there. If you got money like that, you can get 1 hour photo. But even then, you walked around because you didn't want to drive home and come back. So you'd walk around the store. I'm sure that had an effect on business because the longer you walk around, the more shit you're going to buy.
Right.
But you just kind of milled around.
You got 36 exposures. You're not going to waste them. Now it's like we take all these pictures on our iPhones. I upload them to my Mac computer to clear out the memory on my phone. And then do I ever even look at the photos again? It's like you take them in the moment at Disneyland or the birthday party. And then you don't even look at them half the time, I don't know. I think in this culture where we have too much, it just makes us not appreciate anything. So watching Back to the Future and watching him go from the 80s to the 50s, that was also interesting. And I remember being a child in the 80s, and the 50s sounded like 1,000 years ago. It just sounded like an impossible time that was so long ago. So my mom was born in 54 and blah, blah, blah. And now I think from now until when I was in high school is longer than what Marty McFly did in this movie.
Yeah. Fucking crazy. My mom was born in 55.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. And as you mentioned, it's pre-woke because there's a scene in here in the diner when he first gets to 1955 where it was ripe for woke. There's a black employee that works somewhere. If that shit was today, there would be some kind of fucking you're a racist or fuck you white man or some shit like that. But that just wasn't a thing back then. So the scene plays out with him just being a regular dude at work. And everybody was fine. Good triumphs. Good wins in the end. Like it wasn't some weird shit. Nobody was beat down because of how they were born. What color they were born. You can't fucking help that. So if we could pick our parents, the world would be totally different, but you can't. You can't pick what container you come in when you get here, but what a great movie, man.
Yeah, in the 80s, I love what you just said there. And in my book, and Dean and I were on another podcast this morning, we talked about it. Good is good and evil is evil. We're not going to mince that or muddy the waters and confuse it. No, there's a wrong and a right, and we're going to fight for what's right in our stories. And like you said about the woke scene in the diner, there's a black guy who works there. I don't know if he's one of the cooks or he's the janitor or whatever. And Michael J. Fox tells him, you're going to be the mayor because he knows the future. And that guy's like, yeah, the mayor. And the owner of the diner goes, a colored mayor? Come on, John, or whatever the guy's name was. But it's jovial and they're just talking like guys that know each other. Not, I don't like you because you're black. It's just that's how it was. And if they made it now, he'd be a virulent racist and blah, blah, blah. And the other guy would kneel and take a fist in the air. And oof.
But we often look at those times, when racism was socially acceptable as though it only came from one side. Only white people were racist. But in reality, everybody accepted it. Black people accepted it. He told him, a colored man, get out of here. And the black guy didn't go, what motherfucker would you call me? Because that's just the way it was. We didn't know any better then. And that gets lost. It didn't just come from one side and white people were perpetrating this. No, black folks, for lack of a better word, accepted it. That's how society worked. And once we found out, oh shit, all right, maybe we should change this, we did. But that was a point where if they made that movie today, that white dude would have just been this boy, just some over the top cartoonish bullshit. And thank God that they
spitting his chaw out. All right, boy.
And thank God that they sidestepped that dog turd that they could have stepped in, but they didn't. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I saw the difference with movies nowadays. There was a trailer for a brand new Disney Star Wars show that comes out in June. And of course, all the Jedis, the magical space ninjas, that's what Star Wars guys are. They're all black and Asian. There's not a white person to be found. They're all black women with the side of their head shaved with braids. And they're all, but it gets worse than the forced diversity. They get rid of good and evil. The creator of this show is this burly looking woman who's, she looks like a social justice warrior. And in an interview, she was saying that, we're going to delve into I guess the Sith, they're the bad Jedis and the Jedis are the good ones, the moral ones. Well, she's graying that line. So, well, are the bad guys really wrong? Are they? And that's always that. And frankly, I'll go all the way here. That's that satanic mindset of, well, who's to say what's right and wrong? Isn't whatever I want to do right because it makes me feel good? And it's that kind of writing where maybe the bad guy has a point. It's like, no, the bad guy doesn't have a fucking point. That's why he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
He's a piece of shit. That's why he's the bad guy.
And he must be vanquished.
So
there's so now I hear it's coming to all the streaming apps, but Amazon Prime, they now have commercials. They're called ads now, but we grew up knowing them as commercials. So they have commercials. And I noticed I purposely looked at this. I was waiting for these commercials. All the commercials that I saw where there was a family dynamic or a relationship dynamic, none of them were white people, like a white couple. It was a white woman with a black man and they're camping in the backyard with their kids, or an Asian dude and a Mexican woman. It wasn't white people. And I am in an interracial relationship. My wife is white. And even I don't want to see that bullshit because it's not real. Only 10% of marriages are interracial, and that's okay. I don't want you to do some inorganic, fake, pushed shit that you made up to push a narrative. That's not how it is, and that's all right. If most of the commercials got white people in them, or you got, 2 black people or 2 Asian people or 2 Mexicans, that's how it is. Like, so what? They don't need to be everywhere, but there were no just white man and white woman commercials. That shit was weird.
Yeah, people have been having a field day with this Acolyte ad though, because it's a lightsaber with a blood streak, and people have been changing it to a shit streak. Someone photoshopped a maxi pad underneath there. Someone turned the lightsaber into like a tampon. I'm not going to show all that on here, but
I did see.
Yeah.
So that's where that's from. I kind of put the cart before the horse. I saw that tampon one. Now I know what it's from. That's funny.
Right. So I don't know who the hell they make this stuff for. I just thank goodness we have our 80s movies intact. But I do think I need to stock up on physical media from the 80s because I know they're going to edit it. They're going to use AI and CGI, and they're going to go back into Back to the Future and literally change dialogue, make the actors say and do other things to make it all woke. And if you think I'm kidding, communists did that 100 years ago, whatever. Stalin literally had people airbrushed out of photos, things erased from books. Never happened. That's communist. I mean, think about during the Black Lives Matter riots, they're tearing down statues, removing a statue of Thomas Jefferson. Are you out of your mind? Removing a statue of Teddy Roosevelt, one of our greatest presidents? You don't do
Ulysses
that.
S. Grant. Yeah.
Right.
So they're erasing the history, and they're doing it under the guise of it's racist. And that bullshit just makes me sick. And people from our generation, from our era, are going to be the only link to the truth. Right. You're going to watch an old movie, and the line's going to be different. And you're going to catch that because you've seen this movie 1,000 times. He didn't say that. And your kids are going to go, what? He didn't know. In the original one, he said this. And when they do that, like you said, who are they making this stuff for? They're not making it for the fan. It's like owning a restaurant and cooking for the critics. You're not cooking for the people that come in there every single day and keep your business open, who want to come and eat your food. You're cooking for some fucking critic who's going to come in there and judge it and say something bad in a magazine. You're losing focus of who your fan base is, who your clientele is. I mean, focus on the people who are going to pay to come see this shit.
They already did it over 20-something years ago. George Lucas made special editions of the original Star Wars movies, the original 3. And in this scene, Han Solo's in the cantina, and Greedo is after him. Greedo's a bounty hunter working for Jabba the Hutt, and he's got to get Han because Han Solo owes Jabba a bunch of money. And Han Solo, in the original version I grew up watching, shoots Greedo under the table, and he kills him. They edited it in 97, so Greedo pulls his gun out and shoots. Somehow, Han Solo dodges a laser. Hey, Jericho, do you know how fast lasers move?
Pretty fast.
They're made of light. You want to guess what the speed of a laser might be? Might be the speed of light.
Maybe.
So he dodges a laser and then shoots Greedo. And the rationale from George Lucas, when he said he changed it, is he didn't want Han Solo to shoot the guy first because that wasn't heroic. I was like, no, it was badass. It was like Clint Eastwood. He should shoot the guy first.
You're keeping yourself alive, and you're so badass that you know what's up, and you get the drop on this fool.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And then people like that, who the creators who are supposed to know better, who should be fighting harder than anybody else to keep this shit original, they're turning on us.
Right.
That shit's crazy, man.
Right.
Well, let's get to a movie
But
that
yeah,
hasn't
let's
been
get
fucked
to
with yet.
Back to the Future, a movie that I've only seen half of. So
Let's get to that first
but
half.
I did see my relatives in this movie, Akbar and you know,
Yeah, that was messy.
Muhammad.
You weren't shown in a good light in this
Yeah,
movie.
Juma, Sharif, Akbar, all my guys were in this. So,
but this was also a time where our enemies were reflected in our movies. The bad guys in the movies were the bad guys
right
in real life.
Because at the time, Muammar Gaddafi, who's no friend of the El Taib family, I'll tell you that right now, chased my dad out of that country and killed my grandfather. Actually, they were having a lot of conflict with America, so it made sense for them to be villains in this.
Yeah.
You know, if I was a woke asshole, I'd be all offended. I can't believe they made the lesbian nationalist one of the bad guys.
That's just how it was. And it starts right off letting you know. So the plutonium theft. So now you have that seed planted in the back of your mind. Oh, there's plutonium missing. And that's not shit. That is, and also it starts off with all these inventions and robots and machines that are doing the everyday things. Like the coffee maker is automatic, but the pot's not there. So the water's just spraying onto the hot plate underneath it. And the dog, he has a machine, a robot that grabs the dog food and opens it and dumps it in the bowl automatically. As you can see, Einstein, the dog, hasn't been there to eat it. And then it drops it in the trash can. So you know, okay, Doc, or whoever this is an inventor. They tinker. They're a scientist. And then Michael J. Fox and Marty McFly, he comes in, but they only show him from the waist down.
Right.
So you hear him, hey, Doc, you know, you're here, Doc, you know, with that Michael J. Fox.
You know,
voice.
Doc, he likes to take those breaths, Doc,
Yeah,
you know.
Doc.
And then you gotta get a little vocal fry in there and let it crack a little, you know.
Yeah, and look at that skateboard. Look at those fat wheels. When I was in high school, the small, skinny wheels, or the small wheels were in. But back in the day, you know, the Thrasher magazine days, these big wheels of skateboards. And again, this is the 80s. He's painfully 80s. His fashion is cool. He has all the cool stuff on, the cool shoes, the skateboard. And he's friends with Doc. And he came to find him, you know, in the morning. Hey, Doc, where are you? And then you find out that Marty plays the guitar. And so he has these giant speakers in there for some reason. He cranks them all the way up. You can hear the speaker, you hear it buzzing. He has it so fucking high. And then he plugs in the amp to his guitar and he just, boom, hits one riff. And it's so loud and the speakers are so big that it blows him across the room into, you know, a pile of papers or into a couch or something. And he gets up and his hair is all fucked up. There's papers everywhere. And he's looking at it like, whoa, that was so cool. And then, again, answering machine. Doc Brown calls, Marty, are you there? It worked. My clock's blah, blah, blah. I set him there exactly 25 minutes behind. What, Doc? It's really 8:25. And so now, late to school. How's he going to get to school? Boom. The classic 80s on my way to school in the morning scene.
Right.
And he ends up riding a skateboard, holding onto the back of a Jeep. That's like, you know, pulling him to school, but the guy doesn't know, but he eventually turns around and sees him. But he's driving through town. He waves to all the ladies in the aerobics class, and they wave him like, hey. And he's like, you know, going through town. You're seeing the town that he's growing up in and shit while they're also setting the stage. And if you're a fan of Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, you're going to love the first 10 minutes of this movie because they play it the whole fucking time.
Don't need money.
Yeah.
Don't need fame.
And then he gets to school and his girlfriend, I think Jennifer is her name. He starts to go into school. She says, no, wait, if you get caught, it's going to be your fourth tardy in a row. We got to go this way. And then they try to go around and then they're in the hallway and then that's Strickland right there, Principal Strickland. And he's another classic 80s.
Right.
He always plays the asshole. He's always a stick in the mud, you know, administration, principal, authority figure who's a prick. I don't know this guy's name, but fucking great.
No,
again,
he's perfect for it though. And that's the thing
Yeah.
from the 80s that's different than now. It's like the authority figures now, they are to be defied and destroyed. Back then, it was still the normal adolescence of you defy authority, and then you grow up and realize, okay, there's nothing wrong with proper authority because you had a father and a family. That was the culture we were coming from back then. So it's like, yeah, we defy authority. We thumb our nose a little bit. Then we turn 25 and go, okay, that's kind of stupid. They are right, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And he's been there since his dad was at the school. He says, you know what? He's that's your fourth one in a row, McFly. You're a slacker. You're and you know, you remind me of your father. He was a slacker when he went here too. And he
He's a
goes,
jock ass.
yeah, I want that jock ass in here tomorrow. He goes, he's all, can I go now, sir? You know, instead of some kid today probably would have like mouthed off if they made it today. Fuck you, sir. You the patriarchy, whatever, some shit. But he's like, can I go now, sir? And he starts to go to class and he goes, there's never been a McFly that's amounted to anything in this town. And then he goes to class, or he goes into school and everything. But yeah, that's the authority figure, 3-piece suit wearing, you know, we're going to bulldoze your community center and turn it into a mall asshole from the 80s movies. And
yeah, we have to have a breakdance competition to save the community center.
Yeah, we got to raise $50,000 in a week. Where they're going to bulldoze it and put a shopping mall here.
Right. Some developer, you know, and he's just an 80s businessman.
Yeah. And
I hate kids. I love building malls on the park that the kids play at.
Yeah. We'll put the nail salon over here, and then on top of the community center, we'll knock that down and put, you know, a good burger or some shit there. Like, they're just callous, you know, heartless pricks. And they always have the 3-piece suit with the vest and everything. But that's, you know, that was the role. Somebody had to play that role, and this guy's perfect. Again, great supporting cast. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd are obviously the stars, but the supporting cast is fucking great.
Yeah. So after him and his girlfriend get busted, you learn a little like a B plot, like a little subplot where he wants to go to something, send a demo tape or do a battle of the bands.
No, yeah, it's like a talent show or something.
Yeah.
And so he gets up there and it's in the gymnasium. You have like the 4 people there who are like, okay, who's next? And he said, I can't remember the band name. We're the somethings. And they get up there and they start playing, and he's like starts going off on this badass guitar riff. And then the guy who grabs the bullhorn, he goes, okay, stop. That's enough. You know what? You're just too loud. Next. That's Huey Lewis of Huey Lewis in the News.
Oh, wow.
Which I never even noticed my whole life growing up watching that shit. But yeah, that's him. That's Huey from Huey Lewis, or Huey Lewis from that band. And he tells him, you know, hey, just too loud, kid. So that's another reoccurring theme throughout the movie. But after that, he's always kind of sad. And his girlfriend's like, it's okay. And they're going to the lake this weekend. She's like, did you tell your mom? And he's like, no, my mom. He's like, I told her I'm going somewhere else, because if I tell her I'm going with you, she would say, no girl who respects herself would ever do that. I would have never done that when I was a girl. And he just basically doesn't want to hear his parents bitching about it. So he's lying to him.
And right before they talk about the lake, a monster truck is there, or a lifted up truck.
Oh,
and he tells her, imagine if I make it as a musician, we'll get a truck like that and we'll take it. And it was that 80s thing of how Bigfoot and trucks like it. Remember in Invasion USA, they got that cool little Nissan or Datsun or whatever they were driving. So trucks were like a big deal in the 80s for whatever reason. It was so much fun. I don't know.
Yeah, and he says, someday, Jennifer, I'm gonna get that truck. And it's up on a tow truck. They're delivering it to a car dealership. Black on black wheels, black paint job. It has the smiley face, little round light covers, you know, and there's like 4 lights on top of floodlights. I'm telling you, it's 80s. 80s threw up inside of the 80s in this movie, and it's fucking beautiful. And so he's about to kiss her, and some lady comes up, save the clock tower. We're trying to save the clock tower. That woman, always in the 80s, whether it was a sitcom or a movie, she played like the German grandmother. I don't know if she's a real German lady. She has the accent.
Jericho, do you want some strudel?
She's like, where are your papers? But she
Marty McFly, where are your papers?
Like, she puts the cup in his face. She's shaking it. Donate we're going to rebuild the clock tower. Did you know that November 5th, 1955, it was struck by lightning and hasn't worked since. We're going to restore it. You know, they're part of the Historic Society. We're going to restore that clock to its original form because it's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And so she walks away after he gives her a quarter, and he's like, oh, where were we? And then they're going to kiss, and then her dad pulls up.
Yeah.
And you know he's looking like, you little motherfucker. If my daughter wouldn't gravitate towards you more if I showed I didn't like you, I'd fucking kill you right now. But she says, oh, gotta go. It's my dad. So I'm thinking, is she going to go in? Is she going to finish her kiss in front of her dad? Hell no.
Better
she
not.
ran to the car. Fuck no. And she's like, oh, I'll call you later. I'll be at my grandma's. So she runs over here. Let me give you your number. Again, it wasn't, I'll text it to you. She had to run over there, get her pen, write it in like their binder, tear out the piece of paper, you know, old school shit, and give the number to her grandma. And he didn't say anything to the dad. That's how you know that he hates that little fucker. And you can see the way he's looking at him, like, you prick.
Yeah,
And then,
Tony C, the great Tony, I know her from Twitter and all that.
oh,
She's,
the Pinheads, okay.
yeah, the Pinheads was the band. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Tony.
thank you.
And Jericho, your kids are still like elementary, middle school age. My kids are adults. I'm also a grandfather. Are you how you gonna react when your daughter finally has a boyfriend, or no dating allowed until they're 35, or what's how does Jericho Green handle this?
Well, in a perfect world, I would be able to lock my daughter in a tower surrounded by a moat and me patrolling back and forth, walking a groove into the ground. But since I can't because she has a mom, I'm going to have to, we were talking about this the other day. I'm going to have to act like I like that little fucker to keep her close. So she doesn't go behind my
keep your
back.
enemies closer, kind of situation.
Yeah, so she doesn't, run to him because our parents don't think, blah blah blah. Because you remember how it was. You're gonna sneak behind your parents' back because your hormones and this love is so strong. So I'll have to befriend this little bastard. But no matter how Eddie Haskell he may be, gee, Mrs. Cleaver, you sure do look beautiful today. How are you, Mr. Cleaver? And no matter how much he is, I'll never believe that fucker. He's always a snake in the grass, and I will fucking hate him forever. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my daughter's an adult and she wants to get married. I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. But as far as her being a teenager and dating, I'm not for it. Her mom's going to have to talk me through it because fuck that.
I would say this advice from your future, from me: vet the guys, be involved in who your kids date and ultimately who they marry. And I think that was the old way. They did arranged marriages and all this and that. And like, who would pick a better spouse for your kids than you? Even the kid wouldn't pick the best spouse for themselves because they're in love or whatever. But you're going to be objective about it, So just be involved as involved as you can. What was it? Yeah, I would say that. But you gotta keep an eye on it. One of the worst realizations you have as a father, once you have a daughter, is you go, "Oh God, I remember what I was like as a teenage boy in high school." That's the
problem.
And there's more of me out there. But you're like, no, I'm not like that anymore. I've reformed.
Dude, but luckily when I was in high school, the girlfriend I had, she was a good girl. She was, no, I don't want to do that. I'm saving myself for marriage. Because girls, they set the tone. Boys, if you're not a fucking little prick, you're going to respect that. Yeah, you'll push a little because your hormones are like, yeah, go try to get that there. You'll push a little bit, but I remember the point where I was like, okay, cool. I don't want to, be an asshole. So, yeah, man, last year for Valentine's Day, she comes home with a single yellow rose and some boy gave it to her. And my wife told me, she's all, act like you're happy for her. And I tell you guys, that was the hardest thing I ever did, was acted like I was happy that some boy gave my daughter. I don't know how to explain it. I just said, oh yeah, that's nice. That's all I could muster. It was physically impossible for me to, oh honey, I just couldn't.
Did your voice get all high pitched? Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. I told you to not cut onions. Dude, I was so fucking mad. And yeah, he was an 11-year-old little turd, but fuck that.
Think about what you think about. At what age is it appropriate for kids to start dating? No. Let your children turn 35, then they can go on a date. That's my advice.
I mean, it's probably going to be 16. But like, honestly, if I could beat up that 12-year-old kid, I would. That's how.
In Minecraft, YouTube. In Minecraft.
Yeah, in Minecraft. I would fucking square up with that little kid and beat the shit out of him. But I can't. But a 16 is the age we've agreed on. The law. Felonies. But I think I agreed to 16 because it seems so far away. But I think, that's...
Blink your eyes, and it'll be your 16th birthday, so.
Fuck. I'm honestly not looking forward to that. This scene right here makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach. I can't.
Yeah.
And if you're not a dad, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I bet the dad driving up to this, he thought for a second about letting his foot slip off the brake, just a little bit.
Just go up on that bench and just
jump the curb and clip Marty McFly. He's like, you're not going back to the future, kid. You're going back to hell.
Yeah, you're going back to fucking first grade mentally. You're gonna have to learn how to color all over again, you little fuck.
Oh, think about what you think about brings up a very interesting question. You could ask Barney to beat up the kid. Barney,
I said beat him, not kill him. I said beat him.
Oh, Barney, how you doing, friend?
Oh, I'm great, you busy little fucker with your Dean Cain All-American Lawman.
Oh, I am a busy beaver. Yes, thank you. It's going great. Thank you for asking. Now I know you have a lot of children. You know, you're a very passionate man, and you have a lot
I
of
sure
kids.
do.
What do you do when you got a couple daughters in high school age, and they got some little little Tyrannosaurus Rex guy sniffing around, trying to make a move? How do you react typically when those little dinosaur guys are trying to come up and talk to one of Barney's daughters?
Well, the reason I have so many children in the world is because I've adopted the theory of spray and pray.
Oh,
But if there was a little fucker sniffing around my daughter, it's different in the animal kingdom. I would disembowel that little prick right in front of her and lose zero sleep.
oh, well, see, that's not illegal because yes, you're part of the animal kingdom, and those are completely different laws. So
I
you
would
talk about this like it's happened. Has this actually? Have you had to resort to this or?
Well, I'm not showing you my hands for a reason. There's blood on them. And I would do it over and over and over again. That's my daughter. You hear me out there, you teenage fuckers?
Well, it's a great thing to see a committed father who protects his daughters, Barney. I do really respect that. Have you ever had second thoughts like, hey, Barney, I was young once. I know what it was like. I was a varsity football player, a giant dinosaur playing halfback. I like the cheerleader girlfriend. Do you sympathize with these little guys at all? Or you just tear out their guts with zero remorse?
Never. I have zero remorse for them. They are little humpers, and it's my job to kill them all. I respect my children, but not their mother's vaginas.
Okay, well, that's a very interesting way of putting that. What else is going on in your life right now? Is there anything else interesting going on with Barney, or you got to run?
Well, fentanyl sales are up. That's about it.
Okay, well, try to stay out of trouble, Barney. We'll see you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Barney the Dinosaur, everyone.
Still pushing drugs, man.
Yeah.
Come on, Barney.
Not right.
Come
Just
on.
say no, man.
Come on. He wants you to say yes. But if you're the father of a daughter, you understand exactly how I feel. I don't need to explain it to you. You know exactly the hatred that is coursing through your body. And I'm okay with it. I really am. Speaking of hatred.
I hated this scene. So, yeah, Marty McFly, he goes home, and his family's like a family of losers. His dad is this pencil neck geek getting picked on by his high school bully, who's now his boss or something. It's like, you hit my car, you blah, blah, blah. And they're arguing over it. The mom is frumpy. The sister is frumpy. The brother's a Burger King manager or something. And then Uncle Roy or Uncle something.
Uncle Joey.
He didn't get out on parole, so we're going to have to eat this cake ourselves. So you can tell this is an ongoing thing where this uncle's just been in prison or whatever forever. And the family is a bunch of sad sacks. Marty McFly has big dreams of being this rock star, but back when he's talking to his girlfriend about the Battle of the Bands or whatever, the talent contest, he says he doesn't think he can go through it. If he gets rejected, he says he just couldn't take it. So you see this family, how they start off, a bunch of dorks, a bunch of underachievers, and a bunch of people who don't care. And there's this annoying thing the dad and the McDonald's brother keep doing. They keep staring at the TV like trained seals and like just laughing at whatever idiotic shit is on the TV. Yeah. And his family is not in a good state. They're not in a good state. So
no, and you come to find out that it's because of these crucial decisions that their parents made a long time ago when they were teenagers. But the product placement. The movie opens showing Burger King, old like Burger King wrappers. You got the Diet Pepsi right there.
Right.
But yeah, the dad, and it's, of course, it's turned up because it's Hollywood and it's a movie, but man, it's crazy. And look behind the sister right above her head. You see that? That's called a telephone, kids. They used to be attached to the wall. They didn't have a screen. They just had buttons on them. And then if you weren't there when it made noise, you just weren't there. But Biff Tannen, he's the bully, and he made Marty, which is George McFly. That's the dad. He made him or took his car, wrecked it, and now he's pissed at George McFly that George McFly's car got wrecked. He goes, "Who's gonna pay for my dry cleaning bill? I spilled my beer when I crashed." So this dude's fucking drinking and driving, crashing his employee's car. You see him totally disrespecting him. he knocks it, and that's another common thing throughout the movie. Hello, McFly. Hello. He like knocks on his head and shit when he's not paying attention or he's, you know, being stupid or something. Just the disrespect is off the fucking charts. And my mom used to do that to me when I wasn't listening. Hello, McFly. Hello.
Wow.
She was joking, but that shit was funny. But he's a total prick. Then after he's done harassing George McFly, Marty's like standing there. Marty's like looking at that like, what the fuck, man? You're not going to do nothing. Plus, the car's wrecked, so now he can't use it to go to the lake. And then the Biff looks at him. He's like, what are you looking at, butthead? And then after that, he goes into his fucking refrigerator and starts snooping around his fridge to grab some food. He grabs something out of there, fucking pops it in his mouth. And then on his way out the door, he tells Marty, hey, say hi to your mom for me. What?
Wow, dude.
Bruh. I'm coming out of the bedroom with my Second Amendment rights intact, and we're gonna have a fucking problem.
Can you imagine,
right
dude?
Here, right now?
Some guy is in Jericho Green's house, tapping you on the head, crashed your car, drinking, calls your son a butthead, and then tells your son, "Hey, say hi to Miss Green for me."
Then he went in my fridge.
Oh,
he
yeah,
went in my damn fridge, and then said, "Tell your mom." Oh, tell your mom hi for me. Because if you say, tell your mom I said hello, that could go either way. You know what I'm saying? Hey, tell her I said hi. But tell your mom tell your mom hi for me. That means, hey, toots or something. Nah, man, fuck.
Kind of sounds like Barney.
It would be, kind of sounds. But it would be immediately after that, after you hear a loud bang in the living room, his son, grab that end of the carpet. Let's roll him up. He's fucking out of here. Like, what do you mean? But again, the level of disrespect, if there was a chart for it, this is off of the charts. It goes beyond measure. It's just, and his dad is just, oh, well, sorry, son. I know you wanted to use the car, but Biff. And he's just a total doormat pussy bitch. Like if a doormat, a pussy, and a bitch got together and somehow made a baby, that's what George McFly is.
The world's worst Voltron.
Doormat pussy.
And all form the head.
All form the vulva. I mean, dude, it's a doormat pussy bitch all in one. Just
ladies and gentlemen, the Inland Empire's finest, Diesel is here. Long time no see, brother.
Diesel.
Yeah, you put the notification on, but it didn't alert me. That sounds like you too.
Haters. That means we're gaining traction. But glad you're here, Diesel, despite your NFL team selection handicap. Good to see you.
What would it take, Jericho? How many years in a row? Because you're in the Bay Area. Let's say the Raiders had stayed up there. You know what I'm going to ask you, and I want an honest answer. Let's say the 49ers, they win like 2 games a year for the next decade. Would that be enough to turn you to a Raider fan? So you could just cheer for something?
Dude, cancer wouldn't be enough for me to turn into a Raider fan. Fuck? No way. Never. And vice versa. He would never fucking become a Niner fan. You just can't. You know that saying, give me liberty or give me death? Give me 49ers or give me death. Speaking of football, in the opening scene, there's a Denver Broncos mug in the background on the show.
They were hot back then because John Elway had taken them to a few Super Bowls. Got their brains beat in, but they
then it was still the Niners. Niners were the 80s.
Right.
It was what, 81, 84.
That's
80,
right. That's
88,
right.
89, and 94 we won. So yeah. No, I don't need you to be nice, Diesel, because I will not be nice to your Raiders.
Right.
So
yeah.
Take the gloves off.
I did have a Raider hat that someone gave me like in 6th grade, and I wore it for a few weeks. But I wore it for the cultural thing where like all the rappers were wearing Raider hats and all that. And you weren't a fan of the team or anything. But who didn't love Bo Jackson? He might be the greatest running back of all time. If it's not Barry Sanders, it's Bo Jackson.
Yeah, if I were to allow that fabric to burn my skin, it would be a Bo Jackson jersey. Just because how great he was. And what if he didn't get hurt 4 years into his NFL career? What if he stayed healthy? I mean, the records, the fucking things we would have seen him do. He fucking broke a bat over his head. I mean, he broke a bat over his knee. You go outside in your garage right now, grab a Louisville Slugger, and snap that shit over your leg and see what happens.
You'll break your leg instead of the bat.
Yeah, you'll be on the floor, babe. So yeah, man, he was amazing. He ran up on. He's so fast. Fucking home runs, those touchdowns. He was great.
A friend of mine got kicked out of a Raider store 10 years ago because he was wearing a Raider shirt that had a pot leaf over the patch. It's funny you say that, Shrapnel. Now they'll kick you out of a Raider game if you don't have a pot leaf.
Yeah,
So
and if you
times
don't,
have changed.
if you're not wearing makeup like a fucking showgirl with spiky shoulder pads on.
Diesel says, I shit you not. He was at the game where Bo Jackson got hurt versus the Bengals. Wow.
That's your fault, Diesel.
Wow.
It's your fault that Bo Jackson got hurt.
Yeah, he's probably the greatest running back ever. Although the greatest playoff running back of all time with the best statistics in the Super Bowl is the Denver Broncos' own Terrell Davis, Super Bowl MVP, most touchdowns in the playoffs, most touchdowns in the Super Bowl game. He's the greatest playoff running back of all time and an NFL Hall of Famer and a San Diego Lincoln High School legend. And there you go. Do you know how he got in? Like, it's just luck that he got into college football and the NFL. He was playing defensive line at Lincoln High School here in San Diego, which is usually a pretty good damn high school here. And he had a brother from another mother or something like that who had a different last name, who was a coach at Azusa Pacific University up in LA, Azusa, California. And that coach said, hey, I was scouting and I saw this kid down in San Diego who's a pretty good running back and defensive lineman. We should give him a little tryout up here. So he goes to Azusa Pacific. After a year playing on that team folds its football program, and a couple of the coaches go out to Georgia. And then there was like, oh, I remember a running back we had back at Azusa. We'll bring him out here. And then Terrell Davis ended up going to Georgia, went to the NFL, Hall of Fame. There you go. So,
and he did it all with migraines.
Right.
Really bad migraine headaches.
Right.
Yeah, Terrell Davis, he's great, man. But man, how awesome would it have been if Bo Jackson were able to stick around? But I remember that Bengals player grabbed his leg and he went to pull away from him, and that's when he like dislocated his hip or whatever.
I remember there's a clip of him on the Kansas City Royals where he was great there too, and he threw some dude out from the warning track.
Yeah,
like the ball's hit. You know, for those of you that don't know, the warning track is the dirt right in front of the fence for the home run. He catches it. He gets the ball. He didn't catch it, or the guy would have been out. He gets the ball to the warning track and just shotguns it, whatever that is, 400 feet, and throws a dude out at home plate. It's insane.
He was just a freak of nature.
Genetic freak, that guy.
Just, man. And
built like a damn middle linebacker or something and just played running back.
But fast as hell. And remember the Nike poster where he's wearing he doesn't have a shirt on, but he's wearing the shoulder pads and he has the bat, across his back. And then the whole Bo Knows campaign.
Right.
With Nike. And they have Bo Diddley. Bo Don't Know Diddley. That was genius.
Right.
Bo Jackson is amazing.
I have a confession to make. I was not a thief, but I did steal something once when I was a kid, and I felt guilty about it for years. But it was 1990, so it was 34 years ago. This poster was in my locker room in 6th grade at Bernardo Heights Middle School. And this poster was famous at the time. Everyone knew it. It was like, I don't know, everyone knew about this poster. One of the coaches bought it and put it in the locker room. I stole this poster from the locker room. I wasn't a thief. I didn't steal. I didn't steal things.
You son of a bitch.
But I stole this thing, folded it up and ruined it and stuck it in my backpack. And then the coach was like, does anyone know who took the Bo Jackson poster? And I was like, Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart, dude. I felt so guilty. Never got caught.
You owe that school. You need to send them a Bo Jackson poster to make it.
Listen, I was 11 or 12. The statute of limitations has run out.
But what if you have the pearly
poster?
What if you have the pearly gates and they say, well, what about this poster? And you're like, oh,
I've apologized. I asked for forgiveness. I'm not taking him a poster from 34 years ago.
But dude, he was a freak of nature, man. I'm sure he hit the weight room and he worked on it, of course. But man, he just had that natural ability that was just fucking crazy.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
No, I think it's none of the minds I mentioned. Kathy Ireland. She was part of that supermodel group that everybody knew. Kathy Ireland, Elle Macpherson, Cindy Crawford, of course. Which is crazy, man. This just a time that can never be replicated. So many things were just were, and there wasn't. It was before streaming where everything was on all the time. There was a time in the 80s when the TV station went off. It turned off. They played the national anthem, and it was static. You couldn't watch TV. It was done. But now, 24/7 all the time, everything. But yeah, Kathy Ireland, she was bad.
I remember I bought this 8th grade. I bought this. They let me buy it. I mean, it's not an adult magazine, but I bought this in 8th grade at the 7-Eleven by my house. And I was the hero on the school bus for like 3 or 4 days straight.
Oh yeah, man.
Me and the other 8th grade dudes just reading this, reading it, pouring over this thing in the back of the bus.
The articles. You were reading about the batting averages for the.
Oh, Mark's music obsession, 1000%. Besides my wife, I've said it 3 times now in case she's watching. Cindy Crawford, most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Besides my wife.
Yeah, Cindy Crawford was it.
Yeah. She's the greatest of all time.
Besides
my wife.
Yeah, the last episode you saw the poster that I finally got to hang up in my room.
Right.
When I turned 13 in 1993. So
we didn't have to hang it up. It kind of stood up on its own, didn't it?
Well, when I first got it, I hung it up. Once I got done with it, then it would stand up on its own. You could could run something across the top of it, cut it in half.
You could use it as a makeshift bridge to get across.
Come on. No, I know it's gross. Come on. Get across the jizz poster bridge.
Yeah.
Man,
now the Sports Illustrated Super has men on the cover. Just whatever, dude. Just too.
No, they got fucking Ku Klux trans members. Whatever. They put Martha Stewart's 80-year-old ass on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I'm done. Now the only thing you're going to be good for is to catch the bird shit in my parrot's cage.
I don't know if it's good enough for that even. Like, I bet if I had a bird and it looked down and saw Martha Stewart, like, I'm not shitting on that.
Need something else. Something worse. Yeah, that's disgusting, dude. No penises or old ladies on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Is that too much to ask?
What are you, some kind of bigot, Jericho?
I get if that's what it means, then yes, I am. No dicks and elderly on the cover of SI. Remember, you get if you call now, SI will send you a football shaped phone. Love that shit.
Or you can get the videos where the men are being concussed and losing brain cells. Get football, greatest hits.
NFL bloopers. Do you want to see brain matter come out of a man's ears? This video's for you.
Right.
Call now.
Arumafe is being very succinct about the last 15 years of pop culture. Ugly fat women have ruined everything nowadays. Yeah, that's about the size of it.
Yeah, don't act like we don't know what the beauty standard is. Now, all these rail thin models and stuff like that. No, is that necessarily the standard of beauty? Probably not. But we know what beauty is. We know what's attractive, the facial features, the shape. We know what pretty is.
Yeah,
don't
Jericho,
tell me
you've been conditioned to just think that women that are fat and hairy and smelly and have a horrible attitude are unattractive. That's white supremacy conditioned you to think that. Dude.
But it's been conditioned through thousands of years, though. Like, it's inside of us. We know what pretty is. We know what attractive is. That's just the way it is.
I saw someone say, none of the measures says Lizzo syndrome. Indeed. Someone says, like a social justice warrior girl, say, Lizzo is attractive. You're an asshole. And say, yeah, you know what? You look like Lizzo. And then watch them get all mad.
No, I'm down. Like, what happened, bitch? You just said she's the new beauty standard. And that's all right. Everybody's not a supermodel. That's why they're so special. That's why we look at them in the magazines, because we don't all look like that. But don't tell me that some linebacker body bitch is supposed to get the blood flowing below the waist. That's not going to fucking happen. I know better. Damn it. So again, look at this dog, classic 80s family dog. This is pre-golden retriever. This was the family dog in the 80s.
What kind of dog is this? Because this dog was on like Married with
fucking
Children.
Benji.
Benji was this, but smaller, right? Something like that.
But that hairy, that wiry, cool, loving face, happy-go-lucky pooch. This was the dog. So this is Doc Brown's dog. So in this scene, we finally meet Doc Brown. Marty! Great Scott, Marty.
Right.
Fucking Christopher Lloyd. Thank you for Christopher Lloyd.
Doc.
Marty, when this hits 88 miles an hour, great Scots, Marty.
Right, so they meet at some very 80s. It's also 80s. They meet at a mall parking lot.
The mall's everything.
1:30 in the morning. You got the DeLorean with the whatever contraptions all over it. They're going to use a little rat turd of plutonium to give it the power to generate 1.something gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts.
Right, and at 88 miles an hour, that will transport him to the past in this car, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
And when I was looking at and he says something about the all steel, stainless steel body, blah, blah, blah. And it got me thinking, they will remake this movie and they will use an all steel Cybertruck. They will remake this movie.
It has to be a DeLorean. It has to be.
I think they're going to do it with the Cybertruck. I think they will.
This is another character in the movie. This isn't just a car. This is another character in the movie. I would say this is third billing to after Marty and Doc. Come on, this is the DeLorean. This car was everything.
A Cybertruck driven by a woman of color that's a little hefty, and the sides of her head are getting shaved.
It's going to be a hybrid, though.
She's going to tell all the white people, well, it looks like you're out of time. And then she's now
I'm going.
They could have never made this movie with an Asian lead, because part of being the hero, you have to be able to drive a car.
Yeah, they'd be like, we tried to change that one, but we just can't get past that stereotype. I'm sorry. But the Doc Brown is going to be some Melissa McCarthy looking white chick, and it's going to be the black girl. She's all, take me back to 1965. I'm going to set some things straight. She's going to go around slapping white people or some stupid shit. But we still have this. It's pristine. It's unchanged. It's unfucked with for now until they do, because all they do now is take shit from the 80s and 90s and twist it all up. But he's basically telling him, Einstein the dog, he's going to be our test subject. He has a stopwatch around his neck. It's set to the exact time as mine. You even see them both change from 1:18 to 1:19, because Marty's supposed to be there at 1:15 in the morning. Shows up at 1:16, and you could see both watches side by side that they change at the same time. So his watch, Einstein's watch, is set to the exact same time as his. They close the door. He has a remote control, the big, huge remote control with the 3-foot antenna on it, silver shit, right. Fucking classic remote control. He's controlling the car, and he backs it up, and he has the tires spinning. He's like accelerating, but it's like, the tires are just spinning. You see the miles per hour going up. And I think when he gets to 65, and before he does that, he pulls Marty, and they step in the path of the DeLorean, because he's going to show him this is going to work. If it doesn't work, we're fucking dead. So, and Marty's filming. And so the tires are spinning. It gets to 65 miles an hour. He hits it. It's speeding right toward him. They're looking at each other. Oh, shit. And then before that, the Doc goes, if this goes right, Marty, you're going to see some serious shit. And so it happens, 88 miles an hour. The light flashes blue. Boom. The car disappears. There's the classic, iconic, flaming tire marks. That was a poster, too, right, where they're both like looking back and shit. That's another thing. The poster game was everything back in the 80s. Posters. So yeah, the car disappeared. Great Scots, Marty, blah, 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 it worked. And then so they're standing there talking, and he goes, oh, watch out. And he moves them out of the way, and the car reappears right where it disappeared. And then he looks at the watch. You can see that Einstein's watch, the dog's or stopwatch, is now a minute behind them. So Einstein has gone a minute into the future. And he's like, well, is he okay, Doc? And he's like, yes, Marty, to Einstein, it was instantaneous and blah, 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 all this shit. So Einstein's totally fine. It's really cold. There's ice all over it. Shit. He opens it. Einstein just takes off and runs, back into the truck. And he asks him, he's like, how does this thing run on gas or what? And he goes, oh, actually, Marty, it runs on plutonium. He's like, did you steal this? And he's like, yeah, the Libyan terrorists wanted him to make a bomb. The
Libyan nationalists hired him to make them a WMD, but he made a fake one with parts from a pinball machine. He gave that to them to fool the Libyan nationalists. And he kept the plutonium for himself to make his time machine. So those gentlemen, my people, the Arabs, they are not known for having tempers that are great. They're not known for it. I'm not saying they have bad tempers. I'm just saying they're not known for.
They're not known for understanding.
Right. So they ventilate Doc Brown. They air him out a little bit because they don't like what he's doing. So
as a person who has shot an AK-47, they shoot 7.62, so big boy bullets. And from that distance, like it would have put holes in the truck behind him. From that distance, 20 feet or something, it would have swished, even with a bulletproof vest on, even if Doc Brown was wearing a bulletproof vest, it would swish cheese his ass from that distance. So it's a wrap for Doc Brown, and he has like a little 6-shooter in his hand. I don't know what he was going to do with that.
He's a pistol packing mama.
Pistol packing scientist.
Yeah, They gave him some speed holes, and now they would just misgender.
Before I kill you, what are your pronouns?
It's they them.
It's Greg Scott. It's they them. Oh my god. So yeah, they fucked Doc Brown up, and so Marty he takes off. He's like, oh shit, and he's in the yellow hazmat suit because they were fucking with the plutonium, and so he put on the hazmat suit, the yellow with the head, excuse me, like the helmet on it and shit. And so he hops in the DeLorean. And since he's running for his life, he doesn't really pay attention that it's set to November 5th, 1955, because they sit inside the car and he shows them, hey, this is where you're going, this is where you are, and this is where you've been. There's 3 different lines with dates and stuff. And so he just gets in the car and fucking, he's driving around. And so as the audience member, oh shit, if Marty hits 88 miles an hour, he's going to take off Back to the Future. But Marty's totally not thinking about it. He's trying to fucking stay alive. So luckily, kind of out of nowhere, the Libyans become bad shots. They can't seem to hit Marty. They're chasing him all around the parking lot with J.C. Penney in the background. And he hits 88 miles an hour, and then boom, Marty, he goes back to the future. But he ends up crashing into this barn, and the kid's like, Dad, somebody's in the barn. And Dad's like, you son of a bitch. Comes out there with a gun and shit. And then starts shooting, and then Marty gets away, like drives through their front fence and fucks their yard up, and he takes off. But now he's starting to notice, hey, where is everything? The Lion Estates, that's from in 1985, that had been there for years, but now coming this winter, Lion Estates, like, what the hell? I thought this was here. And there's a tractor in the background, like the equipment to build it. It's all old looking. This 1955 car pulls up with 2 old people in it. She's like, Harriet or Harold, don't stop. And they take off in their suit and tie, and she has like the lace gloves on and hat. And he takes off and leaves Marty out in the middle of nowhere. So he tries, oh man, this is weird. And he tries to start it, but it's out of fuel. So he pushes it behind that billboard right there. And then he takes off the suit, and then you see his outfit he's wearing before, the vest, the jeans, the Nikes, the painfully 80s outfit. And then it says, why can't I remember the name of the town? Anyway, it says
the Twin Pines.
Was it? No.
Well, it was the Twin Pines Mall, and then he knocked down one of the pine trees with the car, right?
Yeah, but why the fuck? Why can I not remember the name of the town? Hold on. Anyway, someone in the chat, let me know what the name of the town is. But anyway, it says
Hill Valley.
Hill Valley. It says Hill Valley 2 miles. Thank you, Mr. E. It says Hill Valley 2 miles. So he's like, fuck it, I'll walk. So he walks, and then he like peeks around the corner in town and sees it's 1955. You see right there, Ronald Reagan's in a movie because he was an actor before. Quite a good looking man too, like a young Ronald Reagan. I'm sure Nancy was like, fuck these hoes. But he peeks around the corner and he's kind of like, oh shit, and he's checking everything out, and he's seeing the way people dress and the cars and the signs and the buildings and stuff. And people are kind of looking at him like, the fuck? People keep saying, why do you got that flotation device on? Because it's this puffy vest, which at the time was in style, but to them it looks like, somebody was like, what, did you fall overboard? So he goes to the diner, and he's like, what did he say? Give me he's like, can I get a tab? And the guy's like, what? I can't give you a tab until you buy something. But tab was a soda back in the day.
Do you know what tab? Do you know what tab ended up being?
What?
Tab is Diet Coke. That was from the Coca-Cola company. Tab. It wasn't just a soft drink for homosexuals. It was actually Coke's first delving into diet soda.
What the heck? Oh, so yeah, he says, can I get a tab? I'm like, what? I can't give you a tab until you buy something, kid. And he goes, okay, I'll take a Pepsi free. He's like, free? You got to pay for it. And he's like, oh, yeah, not in 1985. So he said, just give me something with no sugar. And I don't get why that's like a character trait, but it is. And so he gives him a coffee. And then he realizes he's sitting next to his dad, who's young. He's like 17 or 18, like senior in high school. And he looks and he's like, oh, shit. And then here comes Biff, the young Biff, who was a prick in present day, and he's a prick 30 years in the past. And so in the beginning, he's giving him shit because he wanted him to do his report for work. And he's like, he's all, you got to give me time to do it in my handwriting. You know what would happen if I turn in a report in your handwriting? I'll get fired. So now, 30 years in the past, hey, did you do my homework? Oh, not yet, Biff. He's all, well, I need time to copy it. Do you know I get kicked out of the school if I turn in homework in your handwriting? So Marty's been a bitch from the beginning, putting up with the same bullshit. So Biff, roughing him up and, grabbing on him and shit.
Doing that hello McFly crap again to him, too.
Yeah, hello, McFly. Yeah, knocks on his head. Hello, McFly. Hello. He's like, oh, sorry, Biff. I'll get it done first thing in the morning and I'll bring it over. Just a real bitch. And so they leave and then they say something to Marty. He's like, look at this guy. He's wearing a flotation device. And they like fuck with him for a second, but they're mainly focused on his dad. And so they leave and his dad's like eating a bowl of oatmeal or some shit.
Gotta get your fiber, kid.
Yeah, gotta keep you regular. So he's sitting there eating, and Marty is just like staring. And it's a classic, it's a perfect shot. It's from the side of George McFly, but you see Marty peering out of the other side of his head, like, holy shit. And he's like, what? What are you staring at? And he's like, he's gonna say, you're my dad. He's like, and there's a series of that too. Hey, Mom, because he's like, these have been his parents his whole fucking life, but now he can't say I'm your kid. It'll blow their fucking mind. So this is the scene where you have the guy behind the counter who owns the place who told him, hey kid, I can't give you a tab until you buy something. He serves him the coffee, and then that's when the black dude comes out. He says, George, you can't let these guys pick on you like that. If they pick on you now, they'll be doing the same thing for the rest of your life. You need to make something of yourself. He's all, me, I'm gonna do bigger and better things. I'm not gonna be caught in this. He called it like a slop shack or something, some derogatory term for the diner. He's like, I'm not gonna be here forever. I'm gonna do great things. And he's all, and Marty goes, you're gonna be mayor, because he knows in the beginning you hear him say, re-elect Mayor Goldie so and so, and he's like, you're gonna be mayor. He's like, yeah, mayor. I like the way that sounds. And then that's when he goes, a colored mayor, yeah, right. Yeah, you can start with the floors. And he hands him the broom to sweep he's like, I'm going to clean this town up. He's like, well, you can start by cleaning the floors. And he hands him the broom. And then the guy goes on to just be like, yeah, mayor, and all this stuff. They didn't hang on that black, white dynamic and racism and bullshit, even though at the time, there actually was systemic racism that they fucking cry about incessantly now. It really did exist back then, but they didn't hang up on it. It was just, yeah, here's your broom, get to work. That was that.
Don't you think it's a fascinating concept, though, to go back in time and meet your parents when they were teenagers or whatever, what it would be like? I remember I showed my kids my yearbook. I found a photo just now. And my son, he was a football player. I was a football player. We were similar that way. Did all right with the ladies and this and that. And my son saw this picture. Hold on, I'll show it to you. This is the spread from my yearbook. One of my friends was like one of the main photographers for the yearbook, so I got the big pinup before all the senior portraits. Mm-hmm. And my son saw this, and he saw some other pictures of me. He's all, so I bet you would have been cool to hang out with, man. Like he's like, you seem like you were a Chad in high school. And I just gave him the eyebrows, like maybe I was.
Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't.
I think it'd be fascinating to meet my dad when he was in high school, or my grandpa or something like that. But yes, this is me in the fall of 1995, sitting in the quad at Rancho Bernardo High School. And I don't look that different. If I shave this beard off, I look largely the same. So,
yeah, my dad was a baseball star in high school, so it would have been cool to hang out with him. He played semi-pro baseball after he was grown.
Really?
So yeah, it would have been cool to hang out with him probably. But yeah, this is the scene where if it were made now, it would have been they would have just stayed too long on that whole racial thing, and it would have sucked all the air out of the scene. It would have been fucking terrible.
Yeah, and then of course this bullying scene would be changed. They'd keep Biff white, but then maybe George McFly would be black, so you'd get the racial picking on. We got to make sure.
Oh yeah. Hey there, colored boy. And there's some of that later in the movie. We'll get to that. But even that was handled well. Right. Even that was handled well. And we'll get to that scene, but
back then it was framed as this guy is a creep, and now it's framed as all white guys are creeps.
Yeah. No, this guy was a creep because he was a fucking asshole. Simple as that. It wasn't because of the color of his skin. It's probably because of the way his dumb ass was raised. Yeah.
He would have been a black asshole if he was black, or a Chinese asshole if he was Chinese. This guy was just an asshole.
But no, now he's white, asshole, move on. Right. But he's like, oh, that's Biff, and he's like looking out the window, and then he turns around and he's talking. And then he turns around and George McFly is gone. He's like, oh shit, I need to find him. He's going to ask him how to get, because he looks in there, when he goes in there, he uses the phone and he looks in the phone book and he finds Doc Brown's address. So he needs to ask George McFly, how do I get there? And so he goes, George, wait. He's all, George, wait. And he chases him and he's on his bike and he's like ringing the bell. Here I come, bring, just a total fucking dork. And he follows him. And you hear earlier in the movie where the mom explains when they're sitting around the table and the mom explains how they met. She's like, oh, it was love at first sight. It was meant to be. My dad hit your dad with the car and he brought him in the house and all this kind of stuff. And you're thinking, how the fuck did he end up in the middle of the street? So we're about to find out.
And doesn't she ask her husband? She's like, what were you doing in the street?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, blah, 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 nothing, you know. So.
And then we find out how.
We find out. So, yeah, Michael J. Fox is there. He's kind of trailing his dad, who's a teenager. And his dad is on the branch of like an elm tree with a pair of binoculars, spying into his future wife's window as she's just in her bra and panties.
Yeah.
And he says to himself, Marty McFly goes, he's a peeping Tom.
Yeah, my dad's a fucking pervert. So he falls out of the tree.
He was Boyd watching, like Boyd.
Yeah, he was bush watching.
Yeah.
So he falls out of the tree in the middle of the street. Marty goes, hey, watch out, because he kind of knows what's going to happen. He pushes him out of the way, and he gets hit by the car instead. So now this changes the course of events. Now he's in his dad's position. Now he is where his dad was when he was about to fall in love with his mother. So now he could potentially be in that, or he's going to be in that situation. So the dad goes, hey, honey, this is the second kid that ran in front of my car. And so they pick him up, take him in the house, and he wakes up. It's like raining outside and it's dark. And he wakes up and he's like, Mom, is that you? She's like, yeah. You hit your head. He's like, oh, I had a terrible nightmare. I dreamed that I was, in the future, or I went back to 1955 and all that shit. She's like, yeah. She's like, good old 1955. And he's like, what? It really is 1955. And so the weird part is, number one, it's weird that he's in a bed under the covers. They took his jacket off.
They took his pants off because she calls him Calvin.
Yeah.
And he goes, my name's not Calvin. She said, well, it's written all over your underwear. Your name's Calvin Klein. So your friends probably call you Cal.
Yeah, because everybody knows what
now, back up. I haven't hit a lot of people with my car. In fact, I've hit none. But if I brought someone into my house to nurse them back to health, taking their 501 Levi's off would not be a priority to me. I wouldn't.
Head injury. Let's get those pants off. See what's going
Jericho,
on,
you look like your leg hurts. Let me get those pants off of you real quick. Dude. I'll have you on your feet in a jiff. Just get those skivvies off. Get those pants off.
Let's get a look at that junk. So they take his pants off and put him under the covers instead of taking him to the hospital, because he falls back and hits his head on the pavement, and they fucking take him upstairs. And she's like, oh, you've been out for 8 or 9 hours. You got this kid unconscious for 8 hours. He'd be fucking dead. Take him to the fucking hospital. So he's like, now he's freaked out because he's like, oh shit, Mom. He's like, he's gonna say, you're hot. So yeah, that's his mom, and he's like tripping out because now his mom is coming onto him like she did his father, because he fucked up the chain of events. So now he's in his dad's position. So his mom has the hots for him, and he's just like, ew, what the fuck? And he's like, where are my pants? She's like, oh, they're on the floor behind you. And she like sits close to him, and he like ends up falling off the bed. So when he falls off the bed, the mom goes, Lorraine, is that you? She's like, oh shit, it's my mother. Further showing how different things were back then. If it was now, she'd be like, what the fuck do you want, Mom? I'm up here trying to suck a dick. Like, she would have been disgusting, but she was like, oh shit, I better get out of here.
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, hun. Okay, when you're done blowing him, come eat. If you want, you don't have to.
Live your truth, as always, honey. Live, laugh, love. Live your truth.
Let him live his truth in your mouth. Like, it would have been some fucking stupid shit. But she was like, I got to get the hell out of here. So he comes downstairs, and she's like, Harold, or whatever his dad's name is. Here's the boy. He's fine. He don't even care. He's like fixing the TV. He's like, I don't give a shit. And so everybody sits down. Mom, made dinner. Dad's been out working all day. The kids are all sitting around. That kid, wasn't he the brother from Wonder Years?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's another familiar face from back then.
What you doing? He was saying attitude.
Yeah.
That's
My
a
wife
great
loves
opening.
that show.
That Joe Crocker, something like
Joe
that.
Cocker, yeah. My
Yeah.
wife loves that show. She's always trying to find it on Amazon.
It's a good
She
show.
wants the kids to watch it. They remade it, and what do you think the first thing they changed was?
They changed the complexion of the white people to more like black people. Let me guess.
They did. The family was
Oh.
black. How fucking stupid. So
Does it have
everybody
the same Joe Cocker song, or do they start it out with a nice hip hop beat? Or how
fucking
do they
Jay-Z. I don't know. I didn't listen to that bullshit. But yeah, they made the family black. Like, do that. Make a black family in the 60s and family life and mom and dad and all that good shit. But don't call it Wonder Years, because it's not Wonder Years.
America's too racist for a black family sitcom, Jericho. That's why The Cosby Show was one of the highest rated shows for years, because America is racist against seeing a black family. The Cosby Show, forget Bill Cosby's personal life, The Cosby Show is one of the greatest shows of all time. It's a wonderful example of family, moral dilemmas, doing the right thing, love, courage. Like it's like Little House on the Prairie. It's almost perfect television, you know, because it's teaching you all the right morals and you have fun watching it. Great show, Cosby Show.
Yeah, it was, and everybody watched it. But as we all know, the died in
Rudy Theo,
and it had all the kids were of an age where everybody could relate. All the parents related to their parents, but they had a range of kids where everybody could relate, with the youngest one, the middle child, the oldest child that went off to college. And it was a great show. And people who are real diehard racists, like you can't, not my daughter, you know, those kind of racists,
right?
Or the left is the Democrat, the liberal racist who, I love black people, but you know, doesn't really want them in their life. What they do is they watch black shows every week, and they just sit there. I hate black people, and I'm going to tune in every single week for fucking 8 seasons of this show. These black people, because I hate these motherfuckers. Like when they say that white guys who marry black women, they're really racist. They're like fetishizing them. You're going to marry somebody you hate because for what? That doesn't make any.
It's such an ignorant junior college sociology class take, dude. It's like, you marry a person because of who the individual is. You don't care what race they are, dude.
Yeah, it's because you connect on
like
a different
you connected
level.
On a spiritual, mental level with a human. You don't care about the melanin. Like, it's a human being, for goodness sake. There's a super chat here. Joe Mello, one of the greats. Joe Mello, for $4.99. Thank you, friend. Hold on, let me run and get it for you, then I will read it for you. The great Joe Mello, good to see you. Hey there, guys. Glad to see you back to doing Double Impact. No Shanta. No, Shanta is not part of the show anymore. We wish him well. Everyone should support. Everyone should support Shant. There's too many S's in that sentence. He's got his great book, Nosfero, just came out this month. I think he's working on a Nosfero too. Check him out, and also check out his YouTube channel. But yeah, Shant, he's not doing this with us anymore, but great guy. Please support all his work.
He's right here. Yeah, so he this is where, you know, he meets her family and realizes, oh shit, my mom is in love with me.
Sorry, I started reading this comment and I only got to the word black. I'm like, oh my god, what's he gonna say?
What's he gonna say? He is a Raider fan. What's he gonna say? But I hate black licorice too. I think it's disgusting. I think that it should be banned along with
who likes the black licorice and the black jelly beans. What is happening? Who's that?
My wife loves black licorice. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, but that's what they used to call you back in high school.
That's how I got her. But no, there are people out there who love black licorice, and those people don't ever turn your back on them because there's something wrong with them.
Right.
But yeah, Marty finds out that his mom has a HOTS form, which is a level of gross that I can't even comprehend. But he's like, yeah, I got to get the hell out of here. I'm gone. And
yeah, they're having an awkward dinner. She's like, he can spend the night. He can stay in my room. And she's just like making these puppy dog eyes at him, you know, and he's just like, get me the hell out of here. You know,
like his dick went inside of his body like a turtle's head. It was inside.
Dude, if they remade this movie now, they'd probably try to celebrate it or something. Or
he'd be like, this is cool. I'll tongue my mom down real quick for a little bit.
Yeah, just the degeneracy knows no bottom. You know
what? In today's version of this movie, he would be the one disrespecting his father like that, not Biff Tannen. He
Right.
would be punking his dad,
Right.
talking shit to him, and taking his car keys. What the fuck are you gonna do? Just the utter disrespect.
Yeah. Yeah. Mama McFly was a passionate woman. We'll say it that way.
Yeah, she was damn near fucking humping on his leg. I was like, chill out, girl. Fuck.
Yeah, she was something else. So then he tracks down Doc Brown. He finds him, and Doc Brown's wearing this mind reading helmet that doesn't work at all. Thinks this kid is crazy, but then he uses some stuff to prove, I do know who you are, and here's how I can prove it. I know how you got that lump on your head because you told me way in the future you fell off the toilet and hit your head doing something or other. And then he believes the kid like, oh, and he ends up showing Doc Brown the DeLorean.
And the flux capacitor. He says,
the flux capacitor.
He shows him a drawing of it, and he says, look, I'll show you. And he takes him to the car, and he opens up, and he sees the actual flux capacitor that he did build, and it does work. Great Scott, Smarty. And then this is when he finally believes him.
1 second. Shrapnel says, you're scared of him because he likes, we found a black licorice lover.
Ooh.
A BLL, a black licorice
lover. You black licorice lover?
You're a licorice lover, ain't you?
Daddy.
You're one of them licorice lovers.
Daddy, I want you to meet my boyfriend. You ain't no daughter of mine, you black licorice lover.
You damn black licorice lover. Get that black licorice out of my house. You ain't no daughter of mine. Bobby Joe, please, she's your daughter. No daughter of mine is going to love no dadgum black licorice in my house. Oh. Daddy. She already brought home that damn circus peanut last month. That's enough.
I went through her room yesterday. She got peeps in her underwear drawer. Oh sweetheart, not peeps. Those are fucking gross. Those
peeps suck.
Peeps, you know how they get the rabbit shape? They get it from being squeezed through a clown's asshole. Those are gross.
That's why there's all that glitter sugar all over it.
Fucking peeps. Oh, that had to be something.
You know what?
That was peeps had to be created accidentally from like the byproduct of some other candy.
We're gonna have to settle this. I'll put it in the hold on. Because there's only one right answer to this question. Now I'm gonna bring this up and we'll put a little poll out. So we all know black licorice sucks. Red licorice is delicious, but there is only one type of red licorice between these two that is acceptable. One of these is disgusting trash. One of these is the delicious snack that Americans love.
Well,
where do you come down on this, Jericho?
Look, as a child of the 80s and 90s, I grew up watching Pee-wee's Playhouse, which was a acid trip. If you ever wonder what an acid trip looks like, watch an episode of Pee-wee's Playhouse. There is shit going on from beginning to end. But one of the commercials that they would show all the time was Twizzlers. Makes mouths happy. And there would be Twizzlers, and there would be this mouth. It was just a mouth, but it would be eating Twizzlers in all these different ways and stuff like that. So I'm going to say Twizzlers. I would rather have Twizzlers. Red Vines, OG Red Vines, you see them in the big, huge tubs at the, classrooms and elementary school and movie theaters and stuff. But if I had to pick, no, I'm going Twizzlers, man, all day long.
Well, you've already failed because the correct answer is Red Vines. They're more doughy. The Twizzler feels like you're eating plastic, and it doesn't have the rich cherry flavor. The commercial on Pee-wee Herman's Playhouse was amazing.
It was.
I'm gonna go Red Vines.
Twizzlers.
Right now, it is 100% Red Vines. So Red Vines are winning. Twizzlers are, and I did juice it a little bit. I put horrible Twizzlers and then Red Vines.
See, so you're tipping the scale.
I'm always corrupt when I do these polls.
You got your finger on the Red Vines into this.
And then scale. If I lose the poll, then at 1:30 in the morning, I'm going to get a bunch of votes, and then I'll end up winning by the morning.
In the morning, we'll be like, wait, I thought that. What the fuck happened?
That's right. I'm going to get that little Biden bump. That little Biden bump.
Man, you ain't nothing but a damn red vine. You're a red licorice lover.
Better than a black licorice lover, I'll tell you right now.
No daughter of mine bring home one of them little red savages to my fucking house. You ain't no red licorice lover. You love white licorice.
It's white licorice around here, girl. That's with the H, white.
Oh, we are proud red licorice.
Look at this, John Olson defying me on my own YouTube channel. How dare you, John? How dare you?
You always trust a man named John.
Oh, terrible.
That's right.
Terrible.
Thank you,
Red
John.
Savage. I am dying. No, I'm not dying. We're all fine here. Michael, I do miss the burgers, us, right? I don't know why that's a non sequitur. Red Vines for the win. None of the miser is right about this. The final votes, whatever the outcome of the poll is, the final votes, I'll tell them to you tomorrow after I get the mail-in voting.
Yeah.
So,
and all of the votes that come in the middle of the night will all be for Red Vines. That's weird.
Of course. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That is weird.
What flavor is white licorice?
The best fucking flavor. All right, it's God's flavor.
Oh.
Yeah, damn good. No damn red licorice or no black. Definitely ain't no black licorice.
Oh,
can't trust him.
Is black licorice? It's the worst candy, right? Black licorice is candy for people who don't like candy. That's what it is.
Black licorice shares a room with lime flavored candy and Peeps. Who the fuck is eating lime?
Dude.
Lime flavored hard candy is one of the worst things ever put in your mouth.
Lime Peeps with like a licorice rope infused in it.
Dude, I'm like one of the celebrities. If they make those, I'm moving to Canada.
Everyone is saying that white licorice tastes like mayo.
It tastes like goodness. That's what it tastes like.
No, Good and Plenty have black licorice. How dare you? Disgusting.
Yeah, those are fucking gross. Those like a Tylenol pill full of fucking.
You know what?
Black licorice.
I don't like sweets. I don't have a sweet tooth. I like chocolate, but like Lifesavers, gummy bears, runts, all that fruit, just pure sugar candy. I'm not a fan.
That's for kids.
Yeah, I'll have a piece. Like that's good, but I don't want to eat a bag of this shit. Like it's fine.
But if we're talking Jolly Ranchers, that's easy. It's between apple and cherry.
Cherry's always the goat when it comes to the fruit candies. Cherry's amazing. So
or watermelon. Watermelon good too. But it's not because I'm black licorice that I like the watermelon. It's
not because you're black that you like the watermelon.
It's good. Who the fuck? That's such a weird stereotype. Who doesn't like on a summer day a nice slice of cold watermelon?
Imagine a summer day, you got a picnic, you eat delicious, greasy, crispy, salty fried chicken, and then for dessert you have fresh, crisp watermelon. That would actually be perfect.
Like you put it in the fridge overnight. That's so refreshing. If that's a stereotype, I'll take that shit because fried chicken and watermelon is fucking delicious. I've never understood like insulting races about what they eat, how that's an insult. It's like, you like fried chicken. It's like, everybody loves fried chicken. It's fucking delicious. What are you talking about? Like saying, you like pussy. Yeah, it's delicious.
Jericho, you like crisp, cold, juicy red watermelon on a summer day. What an idiot you are.
You crazy piece of shit. You like tits. Oh, you're gross. Okay.
It's a weird insult. It's like, you're Mexican. You probably like beans. Like, yeah, beans are actually pretty good if you cook them
delicious. Right. Man, I had a neighbor who they owned a Mexican restaurant. She made homemade tortillas, homemade refried beans with a sprinkle of cotija cheese, and she would roll it up and send me to walk home. That shit was delicious, man. Come on.
I was just at the tiendita this afternoon. Me das un libra de queso fresco. I got a pound of queso fresco to have with our burritos and stuff that my wife made.
Fucking delicious.
It's okay. If you're Asian, I say, you probably eat rice. Rice is fucking delicious. Why is it an insult?
Fried rice, get out of here. Right. Come on, it's fucking great.
Now, what about cool beans though?
No, those beans gotta fucking go, and you know that, Faye. You know that.
Look at this. This guy's this lady. I think it's a lady. It says Todd, but then it's a woman's photo. I don't know. Is a rebel.
Toodles.
Oh, I thought it was Todd. Whoops, my bad. Can't vote on regulars because I hate all of it. Another black licorice lover.
No, you just don't like black licorice like me. I'm right on, sister.
Tahini on oranges. My wife loves tahini. She's very.
I looked out the window last week and I saw some black licorice moving in across the street. I was like, honey, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Arroz con pollo for dinner. Delish.
Oh, yeah, arroz con pollo.
My wife is quite a cook. She makes me 3 meals a day, every damn day. It's delicious.
3 hots and a god.
Oh, I wake up and there's always bacon sizzling, a hot pot of coffee, and huevos, and all of it. It's delicious.
Ladies, are you listening? Are you listening?
That's right. She hates all licorice.
I respect that.
I can
I
see
don't
it.
mind licorice haters.
It's not that good. Licorice is not red. Licorice
No.
isn't bad, but it's not that good. You know, it's
And there is the occasional Granny Smith apple flavored licorice. I'll fuck with
ooh,
that.
weird.
Now,
Why
do
do you
you
come down on the
consider
caramel apple? Because it's one of the most delicious looking things that sucks. It sucks. It
a
looks good.
standard caramel apple? You have some places that'll have cookies and cream and all this shit on M&Ms. Calm down. But a standard Granny Smith apple covered in caramel. Yeah, I'm down. I'll fuck with
Delectable.
it. Caramel. I say
Oh.
caramel too. Sue me. I don't say
What do
caramel.
I say? I say caramel. I say caramel. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't say
That word has a
caramel.
lot of range because you got caramel, you got caramel, and then you have the city of Carmel, where Clint Eastwood used to be the mayor. It's up there by you.
Yes.
So
I
this
used to go.
word needs to figure out what is. And then down here by me in San Diego, there's a neighborhood called Carmel Mountain Ranch, and then the high school is Mount Carmel. So nobody knows how to say this word. I don't know what's happening.
Where I used to live in the Monterey Bay, because Monterey is right next to Carmel. You have the Carmel Mission that the priests, the Catholics forced the Indians to build. And then, so that's Carmel. You got Carmel High, which are I think their mascot is the Padres.
I thought it was the Chewy Nougat Center or something like that. Or
no, it's not candy based. It's Caramel, not caramel. Caramel. I went to Caramel High School. Our fucking mascot was
look at this. Diesel's cousins graduated from Mount Carmel. Well, Mount Carmel, the Sun Devils, they are a rival to the Rancho Bernardo Broncos, where I went to high school, and we beat their ass. And we just beat them in the championship. Yes, I say we, about 6 years ago. My linebacker, Tristan McCoy, my grade, stood behind me playing football high school. He was the head coach at my high school for like the last 10 years until Eric Weddle, NFL safety, took over like 2 years ago at my high school. And they beat Mount Carmel's ass in the CIF championship. So take that, Diesel's cousins. Take that.
Take that, you fucks.
Take that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Oh.
No, put that in your ass.
That's right. Rancho Penasquitos. That's right next to Rancho Bernardo. That's where I grew up. So that is just north. Rancho Penasquitos is the neighborhood just north of Mira Mesa, which is where Top Gun and the Miramar Naval Air Station or Marine Corps Air Station, that's where all that is. This is my hood. This is where I live. This is where I grew up.
You guys are so SoCal right now.
We're so SoCal. Dude, we're going to go catch some tasty waves down in La Jolla, bro. You want to come to the shores?
Dude, let's go grab some bunnies and get a Frosty, dude. Just a couple of Frosties.
Totally.
Bro. And not Frosties like ice cream. Frosties like cold beers. That's what.
There you go.
The
so we're about 4 minutes into this movie.
Yeah, about a minute and a half.
We always get derailed talking effing food on this show.
That's how it is. You people know what to expect. You people. So he explains to so he hooks up with Doc Brown. Doc Brown explains to him that you can't let this happen. You have to make sure your father hooks up with your mom, or you're gonna fuck it all up. And Marty has a picture that he carries with him. And the farther they get off track and the more they fuck with the future, it's a picture of him and his two siblings. They start to disappear from the picture. Right. The more it fucks up, the more he interferes with it and it goes off track.
The more he flirts with his own mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more every time he makes out with his mom.
I feel like if you flirt with your mom, you deserve not to exist.
Yeah. Find a tall bridge.
Yeah.
But he explains to him that you have to get them together. You have to keep things the way they were. It's going to be the space-time continuum and all this shit. So he
can we back up for a second here? I don't want to get too in the mud. When you think of the macro view of this movie and you back way up, the 40,000-foot view of this movie, the point of this movie is like, hey, dude, you got to get your dad to bang your mom. That's disgusting.
If you don't grab your dad's dick and insert it into your mom's vagina and then leave the room, fail.
That's grosser than black licorice.
Yo, Dad, come on. Hey, you ready? Huh? I want to keep tugging on this thing. So if you don't insert it into your mom's vagina, you're gonna.
All right. You're making. I don't.
Okay, this is what you wanted. You wanted 40,000 feet. Here you go.
Oh, okay.
So he basically dresses him. He's like, you can't dress like that. You don't look like one of the kids. You got to blend in, go to the school, and get your parents to hook up. So he's like, tell him, hey, talk to her, George. But you already know how much of a pussy bitch his dad is. So he really has to hey man, you need to talk to her, and he won't do it. He keeps running away. So then he gets a bright idea, and he puts on the suit, and you see when he gets to 1955, he takes off the helmet and he throws it in the seat, and then he puts his Walkman in the seat too, the passenger seat. So he puts on the hazmat suit, he puts on the big mask so you can't see his face, and he puts the headphones on George McFly while he's sleeping, and then he turns the volume all the way up and he starts playing like some rock music, which they didn't have back then. It sounds like fucking, satanic cats scratching on a chalkboard. And he's like, he wakes up and he's like holding his ears like, what is this noise? And he tells him, you better talk to her. You better talk to Lorraine. I'm going to come back and melt your brain. So now he believes if he doesn't fucking get the nerve to talk to this girl, that this guy's going to come back and fucking melt his brain. And being that this is the 50s, they didn't have like super gory horror movies and all this science fiction shit like we do now. He totally believes it. And so Marty clashes with Biff because he's not scared of Biff. He's not a pussy like his dad. He's not scared of Biff. He's like, I'm not going to take your shit. Biff grabs him and he's about to punch Biff. They're about to punch each other. And then Mr. Strickland shows up. Like, do we have a problem here? And if you notice how the principal is dressed, principals don't dress like that anymore. Teachers don't dress like that anymore. I saw some video on Instagram the other day where this teacher had like skin tight, like she was dipped in latex from the waist down, skin tight, moose knuckle in the front, fucking panty line. You could see it. And there was no panty line, so she's wearing a thong. Like super tight nut hugger pants. Teachers didn't dress like that. I think any professional job like this, like my mom worked at the DMV, she always wore skirts or a pantsuit or a blouse, button up. Like she dressed professionally. Teachers used to dress professionally. And I'm not saying you got to come with the fucking Muslim selling bean pies fucking bow tie, but yeah, some slacks, a button up. Sure, you're a fucking teacher. What are you doing? Not yoga pants. You can't wear that to school. So you see how Mr. Strickland's dressing. He's like, hey, we got a problem here? Oh, no, Mr. Strickland. I was just showing Marty, just fixing his shirt, that kind of shit. And he's like, I'm going to get you, butthead. So now Biff is on his case, which he doesn't mind. He'd rather he'd be focused on him than his dad, getting in the way of him plugging his mom. So he's basically telling him, dude, you got to quit being a bitch. You got to talk to her. You fucking making me disappear from my Polaroid, man. Get your shit together, George. And he has potential. He's a good-looking dude. He's a super like nerd, but he has, the potential, like, one of those She's All That movies where all they do is like take her glasses off
and then shake the hair out after take the glasses off.
You didn't think to do this at home? What the fuck? So, he has potential, but he's telling him, hey, man, you got to sack up, quit being a bitch, and go talk to her, or I'm not going to be here anymore. He doesn't tell him that. He tells him to basically sack up, fool. And this,
right, so this is about all I saw of the movie was about up to here. So I don't know the rest. So
yeah, this is one of the best scenes in the movie. There's like 5 scenes in this movie that are just super iconic. This is one of them. So they meet up at the soda pop fountain or wherever the kids, the sock hop shit, whatever they're into with the poodle skirts. And so he gets into it. He gets into it with Biff, Biff's little henchman. There's Billy Zane there with the toothpick in his mouth. And so he gets into it with them. And so he he runs out and makes them chase after him. So here they go. There's Biff and his group. Get him, guys. He's like, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? So Biff is like the big, dumb fucking, that's what he says to him. Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
He reminds me, and I wonder if there was a little bit of basing on him, of Buzz from Home Alone.
Mm.
Biff, Buzz, the short names, kind of.
This is pre-Home Alone.
Right. No. I'm wondering if Buzz was based on him. Just slightly,
maybe
just slightly.
Just like that big dumb oaf, And so they're chasing after Marty. And again, the way they're dressed, the jeans with their cuffed at the bottom and the penny loafers and like I don't know what that jacket's called, but he's wearing that 50s style, man. It was really cool.
Yeah. Real quick, we got a question from the audience. Arnold, if you were in the place of Marty McFly and this was your father, and he was going to just punk out and you were going to get erased from this majestic life you led, Mr. Olympia 7 times, movie star, governor of California, all of that is going to disappear from existence if your dad in Nazi Germany or Austria or whatever doesn't get his stuff together and get with your mom. What would you tell your dad if he was being bullied?
I'd say, Daddy, listen to me, okay? Stop burning the Jews and you got to get your shit together, okay? If you don't go in there and have sex with my mom, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be there. Now, come with me. I'm going to show you with my frumpy, dumpy housekeeper how you're going to have to do it with my mother. You go there.
I am
Did you
sorry
see
I
that,
asked.
Daddy? Daddy, look at me, Daddy. Stop being a vagina and get out there.
Well, Arnold, nobody can say that you're not honest. So thank you for that horrifying answer.
Thank you. Thank you. I live a very horrifying life. I don't have the muscles that I used to have, so I just spend a lot of time banging my housekeeper and visiting my half Austrian, half Mexican child. Yeah.
Well, have a wonderful night. Thank you for the
Oh, I will. I'm about to get sack deep in that nice Latina vagina. Yeah. No condoms.
All right.
You can't
Well, hey,
feel
listen,
anything.
that's all for you. I don't really
Skin
need
to
to know.
skin, you know what I'm talking about? And in there.
Well, you know, Arnold, one thing though, maybe like take it easy because you're almost 80, so just careful.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
I just made myself come right now.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go come again in my frumpy, bumpy housekeeper.
All right. He'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, but not now.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, everyone. Oh,
dude, he's a fucking.
Is that guy? Is he fucking losing it?
Did he ever have it? I think he's always been like that.
All right.
But I respect his housekeeper for loving him for who he is.
Right.
Not leaving him, not running away from him like skeleton.
Was his dad? Was his dad like a Nazi or something?
Yeah.
Or
he was.
That's intense.
He loved the Swazi. Yeah, that's why he said, "Daddy, stop killing the Jews." That's why he started with that.
That is terrible.
Pretty awkward at the dinner table, huh?
Yeah, that's you don't want to have that in your family's past. So it's like, oh, what did his dad do back in the 40s? Like, you know, he was busy.
He was busy. Guy. He was a guy doing stuff.
Yeah. You know.
Hand me that chest over there and open it.
Yeah, not good. So okay, so he got them to chase him.
Then he finds these kids. They're riding these like wooden scooter things, a very primitive version of what we enjoyed in the 80s. And so he takes the handle and like snaps it off. So now you just have the board because you know Marty rides a skateboard.
Right.
So he gets on the makeshift skateboard and he holds onto this car like he did in the beginning. And the car gets him away from Biff and his buddies as they were gaining on him. And so he's riding on the back of the car. He does like a skateboard trick either around their car, over it, and then they're not paying attention. They're looking at him, and then they turn around, oh, shit, and they slam into the back of a manure truck that is chock full to the brim with fresh manure. And
what's your dad do? Oh, he drives the shit truck through town.
He's a shit truck driver. Man, that girl's face is ugly enough to make a buzzard fall off the back of a shit truck. So, yeah, man.
I got a lot of shit I got to deliver. You got to let me go right now, buddy.
Hey, man, I don't have time for this shit.
I don't know who's more full of shit. You or this truck right here, Jericho.
But it fills his car, his convertible. It fills the car with fucking cow and horse shit. It's all over him. So needless to say, Biff is pretty upset.
Right. You could say he's having a shitty day.
Yeah, man.
Wow. What's that TV shows?
CSI.
I think I
David
have
Caruso puts on his glasses. Yeah, he takes them off. What do we got here? Looks like he's having a shitty day.
Here we go. It's a shitty job, but somebody's got
to do it, man. I tell you what. Every time I come home from driving that shit truck, I always got like corn and in my pocket.
Mr. E with the knockout punch. It's the main ingredient in black licorice. There you go.
If you look on the pack of black licorice, it just says shit in black. That's what's in black licorice. Right. Agreed.
I like that. I like that, Mr. E. Thank you. That's fantastic.
Fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Black licorice, no. Yeah. That was the KO. Yeah. That was a
hell no.
So they cover them in poo-poo. That's not a
Biff
good one.
is upset, to say the least. He's very upset. So he goes back to Doc. Doc has this whole elaborate 3D model of downtown. because they don't have plutonium. So, no Libyan terrorists in 1955, unfortunately. And he figures out a way. So the only thing that can generate the kind of power we need to get you back to 1985 is a bolt of lightning. Just so happens November 5th, 1955 is the night that the clock tower is struck by lightning, which makes it stop.
Right.
And that's why the lady early in the movie was like, help us restore the tower. So he gets the idea. He's like, we're going to need somehow to capture that bolt of lightning to power the car. So he has that little red model car going through the city, or through town. And then it ends up going too fast. It goes off of the table. It's on fire. It gets, does something, I forget, it catches on fire, flies off the table, goes across the floor, and then hits this pile of like rags and shit. And then poof, they catch on fire. And he's like, great Scott, Marty. And he goes and puts it out.
I like that. That's a great comedic beat there, because like, this is the experiment we're going to do. And then the experiment fails and catches on fire. You just picturing yourself burning to death in his experiment.
Yeah, he's like, you sure this is going to work? But I mean, it did. It got him there. Shit. He was there in the parking lot when he did that shit, and it did work. So there's
true. So I guess he wouldn't be afraid because he knows the future that it works. I love this from Cassie Suba. Welcome. Haven't seen you here before. Welcome, lady. She says she met Claudia Wells last year. That is the actress that is the girlfriend from the one he's trying to smooch in front of the clock tower.
Yeah. And he said she was nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
and then a follow-up here. She gave her a copy of a book that she wrote. Cassie wrote a book, and she asked me to sign it to her. That's awesome. That's awesome. Way to go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's cool when you meet people that you're a fan of and they're actually cool. My experience with the celebrities I've met, they're usually pretty cool.
You said you met Hulk Hogan, and he was just really nice to you.
Fucking awesome, man.
And then he asked you where the bathroom was so he could take a leak at the radio station.
Yeah, and I stopped at the door. I was like, here you go. I'll leave you here, Hulkster.
Yeah, I'll let you handle it yourself, Hulkster.
Thanks, brother. But yeah, he stayed like an extra hour past when he was supposed to leave. He's a really nice guy, man. Hulk, they say don't meet your heroes. But
I had a great one with a comedian I love, Jay Moore. I think I told you this. He did Jay Moore Sports out of 570 LA Sports Radio. He did it for like 3 years. I loved that show. It was hysterically funny. And he was doing some stand-up in San Diego. Sorry, I need a drink. I need to clear my throat. And he announced on the air that he would be doing it from a studio down here, his 3-hour morning radio program from 9 a.m. to midnight. My daughter is a stand-up comedian. She's 27 now. And she was just starting back then. She was like 16 or 17. She'd done some spots doing stand-up back then. So I wanted her to meet him. And he said on the radio, if you want to come sit in studio with me, email my producer at blah, blah, blah email. So I emailed the guy, and he said, yeah, here's a location. Come on down. We show up, and like 3 other fans showed up, and we sat in for the whole 3-hour show. And on the breaks, we'd sit there and talk to him. And he was awesome. He gave my daughter comedy advice, and it was a great day. And he was just a real sweet guy. You know, it was awesome. And then, of course, my other buddy, Dean Cain, it was great to meet him. And then he's just like salt of the earth, down to earth guy. So yeah, it is nice to meet famous people. And then they're normal and they're polite and they're kind. It's kind of awesome. So,
yeah. And Jay Moore does one of the best Christopher Walken impersonations.
My favorite impersonation that he does is Christopher Walken is amazing. Him and Kevin Pollak do the best ones. But his droopy dog, I can't do it either. And I want it so bad. And I can't.
Going up to
oh boy! But he would do this character. It was alternative lifestyle droopy dog.
Yeah.
It was hysterical, dude. It was so funny.
Well, Cassie Suba, welcome.
Yes, welcome in.
Hopefully, this will not be your last, but you never forget your first.
This is there's a lot of food talk on this channel.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy debate. A lot of talk about licorice. You know.
You'll never forget your first, Cassie.
All right, so help us, Jericho, because I only got halfway through this movie today. So I'm in uncharted territory for me here. So
yeah, so he meets up, or his mom is there, but of course he can't tell her the plan because they need to naturally fall in love like they did before so they can make him and his brother and sister. So they're, keeping everything under wraps. She's like, who the fuck is this dude? I'm a friend of his. Great Scott, Barney. And people know, and that's another thing. Strickland told him that. He's you hanging out with that Doc Brown? That guy is a loser. He's like, you hang around him, you're going to be in trouble. And then we fast forward to that night where the terrorists were shooting AK-47s at him. So put one in the column for Mr. Strickland. And yeah, he gives him a letter, don't open until 1985. Like, how do you expect somebody fucking, I'm like, yeah, okay. And as soon as he leaves, I'm opening that shit. What do you mean 1985? 30
You
years
could
in
have
the
at least
future.
wrote down to his father, like, who won the World Series at different times. So, Dad,
Yeah, dude, help him
put
out.
the bank on this. I'm telling you, put the bank on this, okay?
Well,
And,
spoiler alert, and we got to do the second one because there's three. The first two are great. The third one is fucking stupid. But in the second one, there's a sports almanac that's involved, and
oh,
that's the first thing I would do. I would bet on, and not only the winner but the score to make as much money. Yeah, you could be a millionaire fucking quick doing. I don't know why he didn't hook his dad up so he could grow up a rich kid. But yeah,
right.
Marty
You're
dropped
setting
the ball.
yourself up for great Christmases. You could get that G.I. Joe aircraft carrier like in
Dude,
1984.
everything.
The thing was like, 6 feet long, and you could have all that if you told your dad who won the damn World Series. Come on.
Stupid Marty. Just like 4 or 5 of them. You don't have to get them like, all of them. It's
Right.
like 4 or 5 of them. They'll put a bunch of money down,
Yeah.
especially on the underdog when, they're going to get some juggernaut that's supposed to kick the shit out of them. Come on, Marty, use your brain, man. Use your fucking brain. So this is another iconic scene. So this is the Under the Sea dance or whatever it was called, Enchantment Under the Sea or something.
This was when they were on the dinner table in the beginning of the movie. This is when the mom and the dad had their first kiss and they had met and all that. And now all of that's derailed because the son has taken the role of the father.
Yeah,
so he's got to find a way to get the dad to and the mom together.
Yeah, he still has to insert his dad's penis into his mother's vagina. So
that's one way to put it.
that's how it has to be. So this is the dance at the high school, and this is Marin Barry and the Starlighters. So that comes into play a little bit later. So outside, Marty shows up and he sees his mom out there, and Biff is out there, and Biff is harassing her. He's like grabbing her. Yeah, where you going, Tootsie? You want it, and all this kind of stuff. And so he like puts her, he like pushes her in the car, and he's gonna
do horrible things.
Yeah, because he's
a pig. He's a disgusting pig.
Yeah, disgusting piece of shit. He's gonna do the most horrible thing to her. And George McFly comes out there and he sees it. And so you're thinking that he's going to be the doormat pussy bitch that he's always been. He doesn't stand up to Biff. All 30 years into the future, he's still getting punked by him. He's still letting him come into his home, wreck his car, get food out of his fridge and say, tell your mom hi for me. Dude's a fucking asshole through and through. So you're thinking this is just going to be another instance where he kicks Marty's ass or kicks George's ass, and Marty is going to have to save his dad. But plot twist, he goes out there and he grabs Biff and he says, hey, oh, no, wait. Before this is another good part. This is another part where if they made this movie today, that they're going to focus, they're going to laser focus and put a magnifying glass over the racism. So, he's out there and he's fucking with Marty, and then you see there's a car and there's like smoke in there, and one of the black guys is part of the band. They're taking a break, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, "What did he say?" He's like, "Hey, spook, don't worry about it. Mind your business." That's a derogatory term for black folks. A couple floors down from the N-word, but it's still used, especially back then. So he goes, "Hey, spook, don't worry about it. It's not your problem, not your business." And when he said that, he goes, "What?" And like 2 doors open in the car, and like 3, 4, 5 other black dudes. What the fuck did you say? Now, in this movie, or in a movie of today, it would have been like, totally just over the top racism, like some boss hog shit. But again, they didn't play it like he was this super racist and these black guys were so oppressed that they were fearful and they couldn't do it. It's just another instance of oppression and we can't seem to get over the hump. No, these dudes are like, what the fuck did you say, punk? I'll come in there and beat your ass. Like they weren't afraid. They saw themselves as equals. What? That's weird how that works. That if you see yourself as an equal, you'll act like one, and therefore you will be.
Wait a minute. So if you see yourself as a victim, then you just won't try because you think you can't win, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say it that way, but I think you're right.
Oh, so
I think
that's why.
if you see yourself as a lowly piece of shit, that's what you're gonna be.
Hmm.
So they get out the car, like, what the fuck do you say? And he's like, I don't want any trouble with no reefer heads. And so he's about to fuck Marty up. And then George, like, to go to the next one, I think it's her in the car. Yeah, they're gonna beat Marty up. And then, okay, here we go. So she's in the car. He's gonna like take it from her, right? And so George comes out with the white James Bond tuxedo jacket, and he says, "Hey, leave her alone, Biff." And so Biff gets out and like grabs his arm and twists his arm, and he's like, "Oh, ow, no, no!" So here we go again, George. You're getting punked by Biff. And Lorraine, she's like, "No, Biff, you're gonna break his arm. Leave him alone. Leave him alone." He's like, "Shut up, broad." And when he turns around, that's when he has his arm. And when he turns around to talk to her, he turns back around to George, and George, you see him ball his fist up, and he just turns around. Blam! Fucking nails Biff.
The moment when George realized he had balls.
Yeah, it reminds me of this old Disney cartoon where this lion was basically the herd dog for these sheep. They somehow the lion cub, they got him and they adopted him and they raised him. And now he's this big lion, but he thinks he's a sheep. And so he acts like one. And there's a scene where the wolves they're bearing down on the sheep and they're going to hurt him. And like this thing goes off in his head and he realizes, I'm a lion. I'm bigger than them. I'm stronger than them. I have to do something to keep them from hurting my family. So George McFly has that moment where he just says, I'm not going to let this happen. I can't sit by and let her be assaulted by this piece of shit. So I got to do something. So he fucking spins around, hits Biff in his chin, knocks him smooth the fuck out up against the car. And then right before that, Biff pushes her on the ground. So then he knocks Biff out, and then he puts his hand out.
He's got his hand right in her face, just mashing her face.
Yo, dude, threw her right down on her ass on the pavement. And then George says, are you okay? And he puts his hand out and helps her up. And then that's when she falls in love with him. So now they go back into the dance, and here's another iconic scene in this movie. So remember, Marty likes to play, or he plays guitar quite well for his band, the
Pinheads.
Thank you. Yeah. So while they're outside, the lead singer, he's trying to change a tire and he cuts his hand. He's like, oh man, I sliced my hand. Shit. And for some reason, if you cut your hand, you can't sing or you can't play guitar.
Right.
So he says, oh, hey, I can play guitar. They're like, what? He's like, yeah, I can play. All right, cool. You fill in for him. So now they go back in, and now George is the man. He has Lorraine on his arm, and oh shit, he knocked Biff out. He knocked out Biff. Everybody's whispering, he's a fucking man, right? So Marty gets up there, and he starts playing, but they haven't had their first kiss yet. So he's starting to get weak and fade away, and now it's his turn. His brother and sister
and that photo's continuing to fade and fade and fade.
Yeah. You know? So now it's his turn. He's starting to fade, and like his hands are disappearing. He can't even play guitar. And he like goes down to one knee, and then they're dancing, and his dad kisses her, and then he's rejuvenated. His hand comes back. He has energy. He stands back up, and like it's the way they do it in the movie. Right when he's hitting a chord, that's when he like sits up like this and starts playing it. And they're playing like Earth Angel, like some slow shit, right? And he's like, man, let's kick this shit up a little bit. He's like, what do you got in mind? He's like, just follow me, blah blah blah. Catch me on the threes. Follow my lead, boys. And then he starts playing the beginning riff to Johnny Be Good. And then they like start, okay, boom. And like, they're true musicians, so they catch the beat and they start playing the drums and all this shit along with him. And then doesn't he
say something like to the crowd, like, you guys are going to love this or something like that?
Yeah, he says, he's all, your kids are going to love this. It's called rock and roll. He's like, check this out. And then he starts playing. And then they're like, oh shit, everybody's like dancing and stuff. Because I think Johnny Be Good probably came out a few years after this. So they're like, oh shit. And the crowd is dancing and the kids are loving it and stuff. And he's singing, go, 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 Johnny, go. And he's singing and shit. So then Marion Barry goes into the office and he's like, Chuck, yeah, it's your cousin, Marion Barry. So now you think, oh, Chuck Berry's cousin. He's like, that sound you were looking for? Listen to this. And he puts the phone out so he could hear this kid fucking shredding. So then he starts getting a little too into it, starts like doing all these like metal riffs and like kicking over the fucking speaker and shit. And then everybody's just silent, like, what the fuck? And he goes, oh, hey, sorry guys. He's like, don't worry, your kids are gonna love this. And like he takes off the guitar, he takes the guitar off and runs through the crowd. And George's dad is like, hey, thanks, Marty. You know, and he's like, all right, cool. Then Strickland like covering his, what the fuck is this? And so he thanks him for basically giving him the courage to do Marvin Berry. Thank you.
Yeah, Marion Barry was the mayor of Washington, D.C. that got caught doing crack with a hooker.
With a prostitute on camera and was re-elected.
And you guys who didn't see it, you won't believe this. Like he does the cocaine or the crack or whatever and literally does a backflip like a pro athlete.
Woo!
Have you seen the video of that, Jericho?
I remember seeing it as a kid, but it was just him and the prostitute because they're like filming it.
Yeah, it's like hidden camera agent from the undercover cops.
Yeah, and he's like doing coke, but I didn't see him fucking hit a back handspring in that bitch. But
and then he won re-election.
Yeah, how racist is this country when you're the mayor? You're a black man. You're the mayor of Washington D.C.
You did a crack flip,
dude. You're black, right? You're the mayor of DC. You get caught smoking crack and with a prostitute, and you get reelected. Somebody sift through that and find me the nuggets of racism, please. So George thanks him for, helping him get the balls to ask him, basically, knock out Biff, help his mother, kiss her, fall in love. And then we're getting to, all right, now I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to get back to 1985. So he's like, great Scots, Marty, where are you? Because Marty's still at the dance fucking around playing guitar. So he gets there, they get the DeLorean out there, and now, that was pretty damn funny, by the way. So now it's time to wait for this bolt of lightning to strike. But of course, everything's not going as planned. The lightning strikes a tree. The tree falls on the cable that needs to be connected to the top of the bell or the clock where the lightning is going to strike. Shit, now Doc Brown has to get up on the clock tower to manually connect the cable again, but he can't. And then is that the picture he's holding? I think it's a picture he's holding.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's fading or something.
Yeah, it's fading away. They're dying because it's getting crunch time. The lightning's about to strike. You got to get the fuck out of here, Marty. And so Doc climbs up there to reconnect the cable. And, he steps over there and then part of the ledge falls. He almost falls off. He's hanging onto the hands of the clock, danger and suspense. And it happens again. A bigger chunk falls off and he's like, oh shit. And so right when Marty's coming, and Marty's like, he's, 65, 70 miles an hour. He sees that it's not happening yet. He like squints his eyes like, I'm about to drive through this fucking store if he doesn't connect it. And then right when the lightning strikes, Doc, he reconnects the cable. Boom, the lightning hits the cable. It goes through the cable, hits the DeLorean, 88 miles an hour. Flaming tire marks again.
Have you been there? Have you been to Universal Studios? They still have this area kind of.
That something I was thinking about. Like they build these sets or these I guess it's a set, but like entire towns, black, asphalt, grass, trees, and all that stuff. But I was wondering, like, is that a real building? Like, did they really make pillars and concrete? Like, is that it looks real.
I think it might be. I think it might have an interior that they use for other, because they've used it for all kinds of movies.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If they're going to put that kind of money and effort into it, I'm sure they use it for. I could have swore it was also used in the end of that movie, Monster Squad. It was kind of that same town square kind of look.
Yeah, if you go to Universal Studios, I believe it's there. This is because I went. I've only been to Universal Studios twice, and I did the tour bus once where it takes you all over. You go by the Bates Motel, from Psycho and all that. You go to all kinds of places that are there. It's pretty interesting. I want to go there because they built that Nintendo World. It looks pretty cool. The Nintendo World.
Awesome. Sounds sweet.
It sounds super awesome. You get to go into the Mushroom Kingdom and save the princess.
Do they show you the Mushroom Kit?
I'm gonna ask my girlfriend to go to the middle school dance with me when we go into the Mushroom Princess's castle.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. The excitement is palpable. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. Who do you think is better though? Like Mario's better or Luigi's better?
I have to say Mario is better. He has a better mustache than Luigi's.
But like Luigi's taller and he could jump higher.
But he's not as cool as Mario. He doesn't get the flower plants, throw the flower balls.
What about Toad, the little guy, the mushroom guy?
He's cool too. I like him. He's so super cool.
Is that a hat or is that like a mushroom growing on his head?
I think it's his head. If you sliced it, it would probably kill the mushroom guy.
Disgusting.
Because
It's
it's
disgusting.
It's his. It's his. He's always with the princess.
This is Nerd Talk has been brought to you by Double Impact.
Nerd Talk brought to you by Virginity. Okay, don't you die on me.
I'm all right. We talk so much. I haven't been drinking enough water. Sorry.
So yeah, man, everything happens the way it's supposed to. Marty goes back to 1985, but it's not over yet, people. Don't forget.
Don't forget about my relatives that shot down Doc Brown in the parking lot.
Don't forget
My Uncle Hamed and my
James.
Uncle Sharif. Yeah. So
Don't forget Gabe's lineage.
I literally have an Uncle Karim, an Uncle Saeed, Uncle Arif. I have Juma. That's all there. My dad has 11 siblings. So
Damn.
yeah.
Back when people had big ass families.
Yeah.
So it's not over yet. Remember, Doc Brown got sprayed in 1985 at the mall. So we got to go back and see what's up with that. So Marty, he comes back, but not exactly at the mall. He comes back somewhere else, runs down the hill. It's like a minute away, runs down the hill. And then he's watching it happen. His other him is there. And Doc Brown is there. He comes down there right when they are shooting Doc Brown. So he runs down there to see this. Doc, are you okay, Doc? And the Doc Brown like opens his eyes like, oh, great, Marty. And he opens his shirt and he had a bulletproof vest on. But as I mentioned before, even if he had a bulletproof vest on, from that close proximity, the bullets would have fucking passed right there.
And Mr. E points out in the beginning of the movie, this was the Twin Pines Mall. When Marty McFly went back in time, he destroyed one of the Twin Pines. So now in the future, it's called the Lone Pine Mall. It's fascinating.
Nice.
Time travel stuff, a lot of gobbledygook and weird bad stories, but when it's done right, it's fascinating because it's like a puzzle for your brain.
Yeah, and that attention to detail,
Yeah.
it's great. And so he's like, no, Doc, no, he's all sad. And Doc's like, get the fuck off of me, Marty. I'm alive. Great Scotch. And so they're cool. He's alive. I think the terrorists, they like crash because now they're fucking like Keystone cops that can't do shit right. And so they crash or whatever. And then he takes them home. And when he wakes up at home, his life is totally different. His dad's not a doormat pussy bitch anymore. Biff is outside washing his dad's car. His dad's like cool with the suit. Him and his mom are coming back from looks like vacation or something.
The mom's lost weight. The dad's a cool 80s guy.
Yeah. He's like, Mom, you look so thin. She's like, oh, thank you, Marty. And the dad's like, hey, Biff. Oh, he says, Dad, what about the car? The car got wrecked. And his brother's like, what? The car? He's like, what do you mean, Marty? And he opens the door and Biff's out there shining up the beamer. He's like, it's right there. He's like, Biff, make sure you give it 2 coats of wax. And it says Biff's Auto Detail. He says, make sure you give it, look at that turtle wax. You talk about the 80s?
Right.
So he says, Biff, make sure he gets 2 coats of wax, not 1. He's like, oh, I'm finishing up the 2nd coat right now, Mr. McFly. Biff? Oh, all right, Mr. McFly, you're right. I'm just starting the 1st coat. Oh, Biff, always trying to get over on people. And then, so now Biff is the fucking, the butt of the jokes, and he's the lackey now. And so he talks, and that's his dad's book. That's the guy that he saw who told him he was going to melt his fucking brain. So his dad ended up writing a book about it, getting super rich. And he says, the mom's like, Marty, aren't you going to go to the lake? He's like, what do you mean? You said I couldn't go. She's like, what are you talking about? You can't go. Your girlfriend is such a lovely girl. So everything's opposite now. His mom thought she was a harlot. Now she thinks he's cool. And he's like, then they say something like, Marty, what about your truck? Is your truck in the garage? He's like, what truck? And he fucking opens up the garage, and it's that black, jacked up black or Toyota truck with the smiley face covers and shit. So he's like, oh shit, I got it. Because now he's a rich kid. And so, yeah, his dad got it for him. And then Doc Brown comes back and says, Marty, you have to come with me. You have to go to the future. And he's like, what the fuck, Doc? You know, and he looks like he's coming from like.
Can you imagine
21.
the girlfriend here knows nothing about all the time travel? They have this crackhead looking dude with his weird like Oakley blades on comes up. Come on, son, you gotta go with me to the future. She starts screaming and running from this. Marty, this man's a crazy pervert.
After he ran over one of his trash cans, in the
Right.
fucking, and look how different the trash cans were. Now, like these big plastic fucking behemoths.
You know what happened to my trash can, by the way? The city of San Diego picked up my trash can and demolished it and dumped it into the trash truck. It didn't come off. And they wouldn't replace my trash can. I had to go to Home Depot and buy another trash can for like $150.
What?
Why the hell are these stupid trash cans like $150?
Why didn't they replace it if they're the ones who fucking destroyed it?
I don't know. And then someone stole my trash can. That trash can the city destroyed was the one I bought. I'm on my third one now. My first one was stolen. It was really windy, like Santa Ana winds, and my trash can blew away. And I couldn't find it. I walked all around the neighborhood, asked people, and it was a brand new can and everything. Somebody stole my effing trash can.
You got
That's
my
low.
fucking trash can?
That's low.
I know you're watching, you son of a bitch.
I know.
Karma.
I know you're out there. Trash can thief. The only thing worse is a black licorice lover.
Yeah, you black licorice loving trash can stealing
black licorice lovers.
Don't ever trust a man who'll steal your trash can and marry a fucking black licorice.
Damn it. Yeah. So if this dude rolled up with his, is that a mustard colored silk robe? Dude, like, what is this?
No one's ever said mustard colored silk.
Oh, Mr. Reese got to the bottom of it. Oscar the Grouch stole my trash can, son of a bitch.
Little green bastard. So he says, Doc, I don't think we're going to have enough road. Where we're going, we don't need roads. And so the fucking car, and she goes with him. Hey, I'll get in this car with this old psycho with you. Marty, why not? We'll be back in time to go to the lake. So then they fucking go and then turns around and turns out that damn car can fly. So
they
great.
Trash cans out of black licorice these days. That's it.
They fucking make the trash cans out of it and they fill the trash cans with it.
So
but, and that tells you right off the bat, hey, there's gonna be a fucking sequel. So like hell yeah.
Yeah, it was I've seen bits and pieces of this movie. I've never seen this movie. I watched half of it today, then I had to quit because I had to do some stuff before we came on the air. I will finish watching this. We will watch part 2 and we'll review that in 2 weeks. But next week we have a guest tentatively. Should I say who or should I let it hang?
No, let it hang.
Okay.
Let it hang.
We have a guest who's a newish friend of mine. I've known him for about a year and a half. And
actually, you know what? Fuck it.
Oscar-nominated film. Guy after my own heart, family man, awesome dude. And he's agreed to be here next week. We've hit it off as buddies. So I like this guy a lot. He shares a lot of my values, and he's a passionate about the arts and passionate about making non-woke art and people who are non-woke putting the money and the time in to support. He talks about it all the time. Should we say or no, Jericho? What do you think?
Say it.
The one and only Matthew Marsden.
What?
Great guy. He told me he'll be here now. He was going to be here this week, but he was busy with something, but yeah, he wants to come on. We'll talk about all kinds of fun stuff. But Matthew Marsden, he's an awesome dude. Got to know him a little bit through Twitter. Then we've been on a few live streams together. We've talked privately. He's our guy, everybody. He's our guy. He's salt of the earth, man's man, father to 8. Ocho. He's a passionate man.
That was fun.
He's a passionate man. So yeah.
Can't wait to have him on here and meet him.
I heard Jericho hit your trash can. Is there something you want to tell me about my trash can, Jericho?
Mr. E, way to fucking rat. Way to snitch. You know what's cool about this movie? One of the cool
I loved it. What I saw, I loved it. It's fantastic. It's really good. So can't wait.
Imagine this, 80s babies. Imagine this, those of us who were raised in the 80s. It was released on July 3rd, 1985.
Wow.
Just imagine.
That's awesome.
4th of July weekend.
It's the middle of the summer. There's no school in sight. You're just riding bikes with your friends. You go and see this banger at the theaters. Oh.
That's all you guys can talk about. The kids who didn't go see it feel left out. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You remember?
Perfect.
We were talking about this at the top of the show. We'll go a little bit longer here talking about the old days. Since it's Back to the Future, we're talking about the nostalgia of our awesome 80s and early 90s childhoods. the things we said before were so much better because you had to wait for them. You couldn't just dial up a movie on Amazon Prime, Netflix, whatever, YouTube like that. It was like, okay, Ninja Turtles is coming out, summer of 1990, and be there or be square. Batman's coming out 1989, and if you miss it in the theater, it's not going to be on VHS for like a year or something like that. You're out of trouble. If you don't go see it, you're screwed. And it made it more precious that we couldn't just have it on tap. It was a better world. It was a better world. I loved that about it. The things were a bit more rare, a bit more exclusive, and you had to wait. And there was no internet to go read and research. And I think it's coming out and spoilers. And here's the clue about something. You were kind of in the dark, and that made it. I don't know. It just made it so much more sweet when you finally got the reward. So
yeah, and seeing even the trailers and stuff, you couldn't just go on YouTube and punch in trailer for this. There's like a YouTube channel where it just shows you the trailers of upcoming movies. Right. That didn't exist. You had to catch the commercial. Because the commercial that was coming on that would promote it, or you went by a fast food restaurant that had the poster in the window, or you bought the meal and it had the Batman cup or whatever. I mean, it was just a different way to get information and be entertained.
Right. Yeah, you guys that are too young to know, this was what my absolute favorite part of the newspaper was the comics like Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes and all that, and then I would flip over to this. I would pour over the comics and then this stuff, the movie ads. I mean, you don't know what this was like. You would just look at it and like wonder what it like. RoboCop, what's that? And Aliens and Labyrinth, it's all coming out. Predator, and it was just fascinating to look at this stuff.
Hey, can you look up what movies came out summer of '85?
Yeah,
there's gotta be some fucking bangers. Real quick,
1985 summer movie.
And going back to Matthew Marsden, my favorite role of his, he played Schoolboy in Rambo, the one that came out in 2008.
Right.
He was the sniper. So,
well, if you want to know what came out in the box office of summer 1985, let's not do that, and let's do this instead. We are looking at Rambo Part 2, which we'll review soon, Back to the Future, Cocoon, The Goonies, Fletch, A View to Kill, National Lampoon's European, Pale Rider, a great Eastwood movie.
Fuck yeah.
E.T., the extraterrestrial re-release. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with Tina Turner. St. Elmo's Fire, which I've seen, which is good 80s schlock. It's probably not one you're going to rewatch, but it feels so 80s that's awesome about it. Beverly Hills Cop. May have heard of that.
Damn.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Guys, it was so much. Weird Science, which Weird Science is trash, and I love it. It's the kind of trash that I love.
But that's a stacked roster right there. Just take Rambo 2, Back to the Future, and Beverly Hills Cop. Goonies?
Right.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Laserdisc. Cassie, I remember my parents got a Laserdisc, and the first movie we watched on Laserdisc was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, think about what you think about. You were born in 99. You missed him. I'll tell you, being my age, 45 years old, this is the America my parents grew up in, being born in the 50s and growing up in the 60s and 70s, and the America I grew up in, growing up in the 80s and 90s, largely the same America, talking to them, relating to them. This stuff now, post-internet, this isn't the same culture. It's literally not the same America. It's so different than when we grew up, and not in a lot of great ways. It's mostly missing the family culture. That's mostly what's missing.
Yeah, and because it still had ties to that older world where our parents came from,
right?
And then they were tied to where their parents came from, which was really like depression, fucking prohibition shit. But the one thing I remember about 1999, that was the year I joined the Navy. But 1999 was so fucking annoying because everybody was talking about was the new millennium and the clocks are gonna the world's gonna explode at midnight. It was so
dumb. I worked at a warehouse at Hewlett Packard. They had a campus in Greeley, Colorado, where I was going to go to college starting in like 2000. So in 99, I moved there to go to college. I moved from Southern California to Colorado, moved back home to Colorado to go to college. And I worked in a warehouse with a bunch of guys that were in their 40s and 50s. And I was 21 years old or something like that. And I was arguing with this guy for like 2 months before the new year 2000 that it wasn't a new millennium. that the year 2001 is the new millennium, and he just argues with me incessantly. I'm like, there was no year 0. So you have to get to year 1 to start. And he didn't believe me, and he would get furious. And I don't know why I kept arguing with him. But it's like, no, in order for the year 2000 to be the new millennium, there would have to have been a year 0. We didn't count it that way. Because it would be like saying that the number 10 is part of the 11, like the teens. It's like, no, 10 is part of the first. Anyway, I'm rehashing the argument here 25 years later.
Yeah, it was real fucking annoying here, all the new millennium talk. And I remember we were overseas, we're in the Persian Gulf, and because of the Y2K, I fucking hated hearing that. They even had songs that were about the new millennium. But since there was fear of a terrorist attack, being the year 2000, we had to get underway. So from midnight, year 2000, I was doing figure 8s out in the middle of the fucking Mediterranean. Boo.
I was in my bedroom watching Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's movie that I don't like very much. I thought it was very boring.
With Vanilla Sky?
No, Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
When the clock struck midnight, we were in the middle of watching Eyes Wide Shut. I was never a big party or a drinker or nothing like that. So I wasn't at some crazy New Year's party or anything like that. I've always stayed home on New Year's. I've only gone out once on New Year's, actually. Twice. I went down to my buddy's bar, the one we went to with Dean where we did the pizza place. I went down there on New Year's like 15 years ago. And then I went on a cruise of the San Diego Harbor with my wife. It was 2019 turning into 2020. And it was a new decade. The teens are over. Now it's 2020. And I was texting everyone like, dude, it's a new decade. It's 2020. It's a golden age. The future's so bright. Trump was president. The economy was popping. Trump didn't start any wars. And it looked amazing. And then the sweet and sour sniffles went record scratch, So, but I remember
take that world.
Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, I was going to say, I just remember that New Year's Eve for me of 19 to 20. I was like the most hopeful I've been because of how great things were under Trump at that moment. Little did we know.
China was loosening its belt buckle and fucking pulling its pants down.
Now, hold on. I got something for you right here.
Hold on. You like new decade, huh? I got something for you, world.
I think I got some black licorice in the back. Let me go get it.
I got some black licorice in my colon I'm about to give you. But yeah, man, I think going out for New Year's is good till you're like 25. And then fuck that. I'm not dealing with all that. But when you're young, it's fun. But now, New Year's, shit, the kids are asleep and we're chilling at home, man. Chilling. You guys will learn the older you get, the more chilling sounds real good at the house. Especially when you have a family. Man, you don't want to do nothing else. You just want to be with the family. So yeah, man, that was Back to the Future. I definitely say we do part 2 because part 2 was really good. Part 3 was really shitty, but part 2 was fucking.
All right. Well, if Matthew can come in next week, we'll hang out with Matthew and have a good time, interview him, and we'll confront him about being British, eating mushy peas, love,
bread,
and all that.
Ain't it?
And if he can't do next week, we'll get him the week after or something. We'll get him soon. Yeah. But he said next week. We're gonna get him. Well, we gonna get him.
We're gonna get him. So.
But if he's not here, we'll do Back to the Future 2. But he should be here. I've been trying to get him for a few weeks, and he really does want to come on. He's a really sweet guy. Guys, packing and shipping. Dean Cain, All-American Lawman. This is one of the great T-shirts. I've been packing shirts all day, guys. I had to order more because sales keep going. Like people are still buying this book. It's going awesome. The first printing is almost sold out. But just so you know, the books are real. They're spectacular. They exist. And I'm mailing out a cajillion of these things. I think probably 3 more weeks. Cross your fingers. I can get it all done in about 3 more weeks. But yeah, I'm working all the time to mail these out to you guys. If you haven't backed it yet, go to bigmancomics.com. You will get it soon. I'll get them out to you. And for those of you that stuck around, I'm going to share a little bit of something with you. Just a
tip. Just a tip.
My next book, which is being worked on right now. I'm almost done with the plot. The concept art is being worked on. Here's a little something from my next comic. Oh, little spaceman stuff.
That's it.
Little bit of spaceship. Oh,
that's all you deserve.
And just a little. Here's a little. Oh, that's it. That's enough. So the next book is underway, as they say. And immediately following that, we'll jump into Dean Cain All-American Lawman Volume 2, which Jericho has and loves. How great does it look in person? I want to get serious, but I want you to help me push a little bit on sales on this book here. What is the quality of these comic books? Now, I know you don't have a huge collection or nothing. Is this a quality product? Is it, it feels nice and sturdy, beautiful color, and like?
Well, the first comic books I ever owned were from you. I didn't get into them as a kid. My brother was really into comics, but I never did. So the first comics I've ever owned have been from you, T-Jaw, and now this. And as I said in my extensive unboxing, you feel the quality. The pages are thick, the colors are bright.
How great are Aikion's illustrations? I mean, he's a master illustrator. Dude.
They're great, man. They're great. And what I like is, especially since I'm reading this with my son, it moves pretty quick. There aren't like huge paragraphs and stuff like that. Everybody has like little what do you call them? Speech bubbles, I guess.
Sure.
But it moves
word
quick.
Balloons.
Word balloons. It moves fast, just like an action movie. Like these good action movies, they move pretty quick. They set it up and then they get to the action, because that's why you're here. So you're here for a good adventure, action-packed story, good dialogue, good characters, a good plot, a good message. It's something that you can share with anybody. So,
and I wrote it as the thing we love around here, as an 80s, 90s action movie. You love your hour and a half, badass Rambo, Lethal Weapon, all of that. That's what this is.
Yeah.
But it isn't just fluff. It isn't just bullets and babes. There's deep characterization of the father and son relationship. The characters are, I don't know how else to say it. I'm a good writer. These are very well-written characters. So
there's quantity and quality. You got 110 pages, but
we got girth and length. We got both.
What do you want there, ladies? Size matters, whatever. But no, man, this is a great project. And again, I have a unique perspective on this because, like Gabe mentioned, about a year ago, he was showing the concept art. So to see that and more pages being written and drawn and the colors and the characters, and we finished this page, here's a little bit of this and that, and then to finally have it in hand so I can share this story and make memories with my son.
Yeah.
He's going to remember reading these comic books. Dad, you remember your friend and the comics and stuff? He's going to remember this. So really, to me, that's the most important thing.
You may or may not have, your name might have slipped into the book. I don't know. So we'll see.
We have to find out.
I hope if your name slips into the book, your son notices. I hope that. So.
Oh yeah, I'll highlight that.
And if you do open the book right now, you can open this. It won't spoil it. And you open the credits page, that interior credit page. You will see. I'll open it here. This doesn't spoil shit. Your name is there at the special thanks. I did give you a special thanks shout out at the bottom there.
I appreciate that.
So you've actually been printed in a comic book. You're actually a super nerd now.
Sweet.
So
that's the part we're gonna read over and over again. Is my name.
So if you want to get your wife in the mood tonight, go, honey, guess who's in a comic book?
Read that part. Read it out loud, woman.
Read it slowly.
Read it. Let me turn the lights out. Read that shit again.
Melodic method. When will the next campaign start? Aikion and I are doing this awesome sci-fi. Again, the same things. Rip-roaring action, fast-paced, deep themes of family in this one, and belief, and fighting for what's right and overcoming. Just all the stuff I love to do. It's an action space movie with a real heart in it. And I slipped up and said movie. That's the way I think. I write these things like movies. And I want to finish it. I want to finish it before I fund it. I don't know. Maybe I'll crowdfund it and all that, but I would like to finish this one first. Like my buddy Eric July, his business model: get your book done, then have it all ready to go. People can buy it, and then you can ship it out faster. If Aiken and I can do that, then we'll do that. If I need to crowdfund, then I'll crowdfund. But at this point, you guys can trust me. You give me that money, I work on the books, and then I get them out. I don't sit on your money for 3-4 years and where's the book and all that. I work, and Jericho knows me personally. I work my ass off. It's what I do. Yeah. I don't mess around. I don't cause trouble, because to me, the customer's always right. Customer's number one. It's important to me to get these things done as fast as I can with the highest quality. A lot of people say you can't do both. To do good, it has to take forever. Bullshit. No, it doesn't. You can do I'll put my stuff against anyone. Marvel Comics, DC, my stuff is as good or better, and we do it quick. And Akeon, the illustrator I work with all the time, he's the same way. He's really good and really fast. So yeah, I look forward to all you guys supporting it, and I'm humbled by that, and I just love how well this has gone. I'm really just thankful to God and humbled by all you guys that have got it. If you haven't got it yet, bigmancomics.com, and they're literally 15 feet behind me in this garage, thousands of books that I have to sign and ship. So thank you for all the support. It's awesome. So let me just check the chat. Thank you everyone who is here. Thank you Diesel and Aruma Faye. We saw the Ferg, Mouse C. We saw our new friend Cassie. I think Suba is here. All the great friends are here. Joe Mello, we love him. Toodleske, who I called Todd at first. None the Miser, Haruno. Everybody's here. Thank you guys. Hit the like, hit the share. Let's keep growing this. I know we took 2 months off because I was finishing up the Dean King comic, but let's come back with a force. Hopefully next week, Matthew Margin. Check out Datitude, the show where Jericho and I talk about being fathers, husbands, and businessmen. That is a pre-recorded show every Tuesday and Thursday morning that comes out on this same channel. Check out Green's House. I always want to screw up the name of that. That's Jericho's awesome interview YouTube channel. Check out the regular Jericho Green channel. I will get through this, and I will stop stuttering. Check out JG Talk on Instagram. Follow me, Big Man Comics, over on Twitter and X. And anything you want to promote, Jericho, before we get the heck out of here?
You're looking at it.
Thank you. And me and Dean will come on your channel. I talked to him about that yesterday. He's just been so busy. He said he was sorry he hadn't texted you back, but he does want to do it. But Dean might be one of the busiest people I know. He is constantly doing everything. So, yeah. All right, guys. Next week, cross your fingers, we'll get Matthew Margin. If not, Back to the Future 2, okay? Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.